Nuts. You thought?
Surely the game of the year is God of War Ragnarok. This game will defeat the likes of Elden Ring, of Stray, of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, of Sony's own Forbidden West. This game will defeat the likes. I'm missing a game. Alright, it doesn't matter, because God of War Ragnarok is gonna run rampant on everything! And today, I put together the best damn team that you could think of to go over this game and do a spoiler discussion, Maker of Chaos, ISO Motion Gaming, and also joining us will be me, ISO, Maker, and there was one other guy. Well, he isn't here yet, but oh, game over. Just donated to the cause. Let's go, baby. Woo! Guys, today is gonna be the day. Because if you didn't see God of War Ragnarok, and almost made it sound like a movie, because it pretty much was, guys, if you didn't see this spectacular spectacle called God of War Ragnarok, then you're surely missing out. But today, oh yeah, because myself and ISO, oh yeah, and the Maker of Chaos, and none other than your guy, my guy, the accent guy, Hoults will be in the building, and the four of us would do something that no one has done before, because you never had these type of people together on one stage going over one of the best games of all time. Now, I don't know if those guys are going to like it as much as I did, but damn it was great. And I'm here so we could have a spoiler discussion and get through it all. No stone unturned. Okay. So with that being said, guys, I am the king of content. I am, because I'm a cowboy. Oh, man. And I will be one of your four hosts this evening to go over God of War Ragnarok. So just remember, if you come to this channel, just go to the playlist. Don't listen to me. Go to the playlist. You'll see everything on this channel, from gaming, the vlogging, the reviews, you name it, from movie reviews, the product reviews. Guys, I got it all in this channel, and that's why I'm the king of content. But it isn't about me today. It's about Kratos and Atreus and Frey. And guys, you know what? I'm going to grab my chair. I'm going to sit down, and we're gonna discuss it. Let's do it. You know, Chris, game over. That's why I love you. Because you represent the people who want to see the all-purpose champ, the master of vlogging, the king of content, the cowboy. You want to see me succeed. All right, guys, so a couple things I got to say. Number one is this show is going to be epic. It just is. We got ISO. We got Hoults. We got Maker. We got Cause I'm a Cowboy. Oh, man. And number two, guys, we're going to get straight into this thing. I'm going to drop this hot intro, and when it ends, I'm going to bring on the guests, the other hosts, and the show must go on. And with that said, and now your mama knows. Write that down.
And now, your mama knows.
Bruce, unleash the baby god dragon! The cowboy is in the building. And we got to give it up, because Nicole Durant just became an all-purpose champion. Let's go! And Ellis just became an all-purpose champion. Guys. And Hoults just became an all-purpose champion. Man, this Stadia Stimmy is running rapid. Lion just became an all-purpose champion. Let's go. You guys really? You gonna do this all? This is what we're gonna do on the whole. And Red Giraffe just became an all-purpose champion. All right, is this real? You guys are wilding right now. Anyways, guys, something I want to do real quick. right before I pull in the guests, did you guys hear? I'm just going to play a snippet. But guys, the song at the end of the game, I was listening to it a couple times. Let's just play a little snippet.
That keeps to his own the world that seeks always its own kind. World that hardens and harsh to winter. The parent forced to eat its young before it grows. Every bird starving all around is frozen. Winter sun rays red on me like blood upon snow. Like blood upon snow.
Guys, that song right there, man, look. Woo! All right, so bringing in none other right now, a guy that I've been talking about this game. He beat it before me, and he was kind of messing with me a little bit as I was getting close to the end. I'm like, bro, don't ruin it for me. But none other than my guy, the maker of chaos. You know, Maker, I can see the look on your face. You was dancing around in the room, throwing kicks. You probably got an axe and everything. Come on, Maker. Come on. Tell me about it, right?
No, I don't have an axe in my room.
Off your face?
What?
You look like you just wiped the sweat off your face? Like you were, right?
Okay. Yeah.
All right, cool.
You know me?
When did you beat the game?
Yeah. What was that?
When did you beat the game?
I beat it not this past Monday, but the previous Monday. So it was a little less than a week from release.
Okay.
It took me about 5 days.
All right, hold on, guys. My wife is bringing me. So what is this? The soup is
shrimp corn chowder.
Shrimp corn chowder.
And a bacon Caesar salad.
And a bacon Caesar salad. There we go. All right, cool. Wherever you are, Hoults. Hoults love the when I actually explain what I got. Now I'm running out of space. All right, cool. So let's do this. Let's bring in none other than ISO Motion Gaming in the building.
Yo,
ISO, what is going on, man?
Not much, man. Chilling was good.
I am good, ISO. Now, when did you beat the game?
I beat the game yesterday at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
yeah.
So you're fresh off of the beating the game.
Yeah, I'm fresh, like fresh.
Okay. So
My
you would definitely, huh?
My fiance watched me beat it too.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So what it all right, I won't ask her what she think, but we'll get into that. All right, here we go. And just on time, in the nick of it, none other than your guy, my guy, the accent guy. Give it up for Hoults.
Have we got an echo?
Nope. Sound good to me.
That's perfect. My camera's acting like a fool, so
it happens.
You don't have to say, it's.
Now, Hoults, some say you were the world's first person to beat the game. That's what the word on the street is.
That's what I heard. I thought everyone was talking the big, and I did.
Yeah, somebody said, Hoults beat the game before everybody, so that's what I heard.
It gets that way where I don't think I'm much of a gamer compared. Like in a week. I sort of slowly grind my games. But when it comes to a game like God of War, Final Fantasy, and stuff like that, I've got an issue where I have to finish it as fast as possible. I book time off and I walk myself for hours just hunched over watching it, playing it.
So I mainly wanted to play it as fast as possible because I didn't want the story to get ruined. Why did you want to play it as fast as possible?
Well, no, that's exactly the same. I'm sick and tired in the world we live in on the internet and YouTube and social media and stuff like where they spoiler. So I feel like I'm pressured to finish it now.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought Maker, I was like, you know what? Maker's going to ruin this for me. I got to hide. Like, I'm playing the game. I'm getting close to the end. Maker's like, oh, I can't believe this is about to happen in 2 minutes. I'm like, bro, I had to ignore it.
I didn't say that. I was what I was doing was like whenever it's like someone would get hurt or something, like Kratos got like
he said rest in peace.
I would rest in peace, Kratos, and then like you know.
I was like, yo, he was like, rest in peace, the trails. I'm like, oh man.
I feel like it's like one of the moments where like no one spoils it, and then the accidentally slip of the tongue just comes out. They don't mean it.
Right.
It's like when you got sunburn. No one will hit you on the shoulders when you got sunburn. And then they just.
No, I was careful not to like specifically say what was gonna happen, but more like just like all over the place with like who's gonna die, you know?
Yeah.
The last 30 minutes of the stream, all they had was Cowboy saying, Maker, I'm not reading your comments. Maker, I'm not doing it.
Because I wasn't sure he was messing with me, and I was terrified. Oh, man. ISO, did you have any fear of the story getting ruined for you?
Dude, I saw spoilers, and I didn't even look up anything on God of War. So, like, one of the main ones I saw is when Heimdall got fucked up. I saw that it was just a screenshot. That was the thumbnail. It's Kratos holding his neck, and I'm like, I mean, come on. I knew it was gonna happen, but I don't need to see it. You know, I can guess it.
Right.
I could be wrong, right? We we're gonna guess what something might happen, right? We already knew some type of fight was gonna happen with Heimdall, but for all I know, maybe Atreus was gonna fight him. I don't know, right? But then no, I see the thumbnail and Kratos is holding his neck. I was like, you fucking assholes. I was like, bro, whatever. I was like, whatever.
That's crazy.
And the weird squirrel thing. I hated the fact that I saw the squirrel because I was like, that's another new character. But it's like, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the horrible people on social media and YouTube, they put the thumbnail intentionally to capture it.
Yes.
And
they do it, man.
I've got people that will say, they'll talk about the news or something like the weather or what they're doing, and then they'll just put insert in the middle of the text what happens in a game, and you go, God, you just tricked me to read.
Yeah. Well, let me do this. Let me say what's up to everybody. Just remember, guys, this is called a spoiler discussion. If you haven't beat the game, if you don't want spoilers, well, this is what it is. We're going to talk about anything. I don't really have a specific structure. I got some questions for you guys, but I want us just to feel free and talk about it. ISO beat it more recently. It might be more fresh in his mind. Reason why I don't want to go from beginning to end. We can, right? We're just going to discuss it.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. And I don't want, I just want us to flow and be like, oh, yeah. Instead of well, we're doing it. Because then we might miss some stuff. And then, if we miss stuff, it's just because we didn't think about it. Instead of, But let me go to the chat real quick. I want to say what's up to Jack is in the building. I'm not going to be able to read everything, but Mr. Urban World is in the building. Oh, wait, I got to read this. Breaking news. Cowboy was right about me yesterday, but I had to do it. I'm going to leave that alone. I'll let him explain it. Let's see. Let me see. Hoults is obviously here. Game Over donated $5. Thank you very much. Let's see. Maker with the rest in peace. Let me see. Oh, JD is in the building. What's up, JD? I know he is a big PlayStation guy, so it's good to see you here. Let me see. Game Over's in the building again. Like I said, Mr. Herbert, JD's. Sorry, guys, but I went on. And also, let's see, he still became an all-purpose champ. Let's see. Goon Squad is in the building. Remember, guys, if you didn't play this, because I know, Goon, you said, well, actually, you was watching me play it, so I don't feel bad for you. And my girl, Nicole from work, a.k.a. Man, she was the first guest that I had when I started doing the show. Lady Balls. But Lion's in the building. Red Giraffe's in the building. Let's see. I am getting through it, guys, real quick. Let's see. And then we're just going to jump right on in there. Let's see. All right. Jack, still, let's see. Just want everybody comments to get a chance to get put up on there. some point. Let's see. All right. I will tell Sandy you definitely said hi, man. Jason's in the building. What's up, Jason? Jason, just remember, we're going to be spoiling it. So I just want everybody to know every time I see somebody new. Cherry, man, I know you said you want to play it. You did watch me play a lot of it, so you already know what's coming. All right, cool. All right, cool. And Game Mode said he doesn't mind spoilers. So, man, first let me ask this. I'm just going to go around like clockwise. So we'll go with Maker, ISO, and then Hoults. And I'll start. 2 questions. What is your favorite God of War? And then what God of War do you think is the best God of War? So favorite could just be like, listen, man, I had so much fun, but yes, it wasn't the best graphics. Maybe it wasn't the best story. Maybe the gameplay wasn't phenomenal, but it was fun. For me, my favorite is God of War 3. But after playing this one, I'm like, it is God of War 3 because it was so epic. The over-the-top boss battles, way more boss battles. But I will say I think this is the best God of War for put together, from the story to the music to the gameplay to the graphics. This for me was like, wow. But part 3 is my favorite. So what about you, Maker?
Well, I mean, it's a tough one for me because I didn't really play. I didn't finish God of War 2 or 3. I just started them. And so it's mostly like the original God of War, which is great, but like against 2018 and Ragnarok, it's a tough. Because to me, like 2018 and Ragnarok are like neck and neck. I'd probably say Ragnarok is my favorite, and probably the better of the ones that I played.
Okay. What about you, ISO?
I gotta say, for me, God of War 3 is definitely like my all-time favorite, and I actually downloaded it again on the PS5 because nostalgia is a thing. So I want to see if I still, feel that way, right? After playing Ragnarok, playing the new series, going back to God of War 3 to see, because I mean the play styles is very different, but I like
Very
that.
different.
I like the violent, fast pace that God of War 3 or 1 through 3 was. It was more a little bit more hack and slash, right? So yeah, I gotta say God of War 3.
Now, is God of War 3 your favorite and the best God of War?
The best God of War? Because I mean, God of War 3 did a lot of good stuff too, but obviously Ragnarok in 2018 they changed the gameplay style. So I mean, it's hard to say, but with considering what they added and the new things you can do in God of War 3 and how the game felt overall, I gotta say, yeah, I think God of War 3 for me would be my all-time favorite.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Hoults?
God of War 2 is my favorite, and still to this day is my favorite, because I just love the whole idea how he becomes the God of War. He's just killed the gods, and he's sort of now climbing up to Olympus through the mountains, like Mount Olympus, and he's working with sort of the Titans. But it's the first time we see the Titans, and he just gets betrayed, and he just lost all his godly powers. He has to start again. So then he gets like the chains and the claws of Hades, and he's got new allies, and he just decides that everyone's his enemy. Prophecy, heroes, titans, other gods, and I just love the mindset where he's just like, do you know what? And when I get up to that, no one's getting any mercy. And that's what I like about it. And in the end, we find out a cliffhanger that into that he's the son of Zeus, and to me it was like, oh my god, it was just amazing to add it again and again and again. And the whole island, like moving the horses, climb up the big chains, saving Pandora and stuff like that. I thought it was just an amazing story piece.
That's cool. Now, I'm trying to suck this out of you guys. Me and Maker kind of answered it. ISO kind of tap danced around it. You didn't answer it. And now I get what your favorite is, but which one would you say is the best? Like, if you could just say,
I just said exactly the same. Like I said, even though I do like 2018 and do like this one, I still like the Greek mythology over the Norse.
I gotta go with God of War 3 for the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's another
Yeah,
thing. I didn't like the gods. I thought like Kratos sort of evolved too much to be like more kind. I love like the Ghost of Sparta. Kratos, I loves all that wherever the God of War goes, chaos comes, and his fate was. I like that Kratos. Not wrong, there's anything wrong with this one. You know, he was still a deadly warrior and a god and stuff like that. I just thought the setting and his betrayal and the timepiece that Kratos done in the previous games was a lot more better story narrative wise.
Okay, but I was just trying to get you to say your personal opinion, meaning which one was the best, not your favorite, because your favorite, my favorite game of all time is Prototype, and anybody could pick that apart and be like, really, Prototype? That's just my personal favorite game because it's fun to me. But if I say the best game I ever played for me was The Last of Us Part 2. At the time it came out, everything was great. So I'm wondering, what's the best God of War you played? Not your favorite, but your best, if that's
God of War 3.
Well, I still agree with 2, the best and my favorite.
Okay, cool. No, yeah, that's fine. I didn't hear you say that though. You said 2 was your favorite. I was just curious which one was the best. So you're saying 2 is your favorite and the best. ISO says 2 is his favorite and the best. I said Part 3 is my favorite. The recent one is the best. And Maker, you said, I think the more recent one is both for you, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. So guys, man, which one you somebody I guess start with you, Maker. I don't know, man. Tell what, like, do you have a favorite moment? Like what let's dive into this thing and let's just spoil it. What's your thoughts? Like somebody start with something that we could just dive in there, because I'm going crazy myself with a bunch of things.
I mean, I'm a mixed bag. I do think they improved combat in Ragnarok, but I feel well. I also feel like they did a better job with the characters. They're a lot more fleshed out in Ragnarok. There's also a lot more characters. I'm not sure if that was to a detriment or not. There's definitely some characters in there that I didn't really have any kind of sort of attachment to. It felt like, and it's kind of funny because some of those characters died. Oh, there we go.
Oh, what happened?
I don't know. But at the same time, I felt there was things that Ragnarok could have improved on.
Okay.
And one of them was kind of the pacing. I did think the Atreus parts were slow. And I also it felt weird because Atreus felt overpowered in comparison to Kratos, which I feel like the son shouldn't be that powerful. Like when I swapped to him, it felt like I was like beating these guys easier than I was as Kratos, and I felt like maybe they should have reined that in a bit. I understand there's no like big boss, and I think that's also kind of a detriment when playing the kid. There's like one boss that you fight, the giant in Ironwood, and other than that, there was like no real boss in each of his sections. Where I felt like in God of like playing through Kratos's parts, there's typically like a boss, like the Freya mission and Vanaheim. It felt like the pace was a bit faster, a bit like more grandiose, I guess, on Kratos' side than whenever you would play as Atreus. And so it just kind of was a little bit slow at times.
Okay.
But not to say it's like really bad. I feel like there's a lot of like little issues I have with the game, but I still think it's up there. I think it's a little bit better than 2018 for me personally. But I don't know if I would like give it like a 10 out of 10.
Gotcha. ISO, what's a good moment of the game for you? Like, is there a favorite moment, or like what did you like most about the game?
Oh, my favorite moment in the game was when Kratos got the Dropnir, or whatever you call it, the spear. To me, that was epic. That was like, and he got a spear that he learned as a Spartan. Like that, I was like, yo, that is a perfect third weapon for Kratos, a freaking spear. His original weapon that he learned as a Spartan from a child. he gets to use this, and it was like, you know, you can tell like it was a familiarity to him because I was kind of curious too, right? Like what weapon was gonna be because he still had to use it to go with whatever else he has. So I thought that part was amazing. Loved it.
You know what's cool? I didn't even real quick, Maker. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together to look at it like that. So I didn't even think like, dude, it's a spear. He's originally was a Spartan. It didn't click that perfectly to me. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, no, that was definitely an epic moment. And plus 2, I was like, yes, I get to use something other than the damn Blades of Chaos and the axe, you know, because oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say real quick, and then also I think the fact of the spear, you walked around and seen these little like green spots. You're like, dude, what do I need to do? And I'm thinking Atreus is gonna get some new arrow, and you realize like, oh, and now it lets you know, hey, you could find all these spots you couldn't do.
Yeah, but finally, it makes sense, you know. Shit. What was it? Oh, it was nice too because you got to use different weapons or use something else other than the Blaze of Chaos and the axe because those were weapons you used in 2018. Right. You know? So I was kind of like, ooh, I can't wait till we get a good change of pace, at least as far as variety with what we can use. And that was a nice change of pace for me.
Go ahead, what you gonna say, Maker?
I just wanted to say, like, I did really enjoy that Brock scene where Kratos wanted him to bless the weapon. That was
that was dope.
Cool. You know what? That part, and we could do this, guys. So whenever we bring up something else, if y'all want to go into it, and I know we're gonna get to you, Hoults, but that part was cool. So that part for me added fantasy to it. I already know they're in like the Norse mythology, but the fact that they fought their way to get to this bridge, right? And they fought their way to break this thing so they could. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing? What is this gear we need to free up? And then you go underwater, and the girl or whatever her name was, she swims up, and she's like a mermaid creature and puts her hand to the. I'm like, that part was big for me because I'm like, dude, this is running on my fantasy of right now. I'm like,
well, with that scene, what I loved about it is when Brock said to like Kratos, like, dwarven magic is making the tangible from intangible things. And he sounds like a smart ass. And then when he says, I can't bless it, I've got half a soul, and Kratos just repeats his words back to say, well, you know what I mean? And that's what
it's the essence of the thing.
Yeah.
Not the like the literalness, I guess, of it. It's the essence. It's the intent.
The intent of the act,
yeah.
Do you guys think that was another thing to make you feel tied to Brock, so that when he died, you would care about him?
I love Brock.
Yeah, Brock was hilarious.
Even Brock when God of War, disguised God of War, he makes his dish and he puts vegetables in, and Brock's like, he put stuff from the mud in the soup, and then you can see him when he's eating the soup. You can see that.
And I totally forgot that this is a whole new guy doing Kratos' voice. Yep. And so when I watched this little video that had old Kratos talk to new Kratos, and the guy was just swapping out, he had little animated characters swapping out their voices, and I was like, oh, that's right. And it was just interesting to hear, because I watched a couple videos of TJ Carlson when he did the first Kratos, right? And he was in mocap. I watched that the other day. But to hear them talk at the same time, it was like, oh, snap, the different voices.
I've went back on YouTube and watched some video footage from past games, and it's just so funny seeing Kratos without no beard. He hasn't got no attention to detail.
Yeah.
He's just like a plain person, isn't he? He's like, I can't remember remembering that. But when you look at it now, compared to the games that we're playing now, it's like, wow, it's not half evolved.
But you know what my thing is, though? I love his old personality. Because a lot of people say he's neutered now. Before, he was...
He daddy Kratos now. He daddy
come
Kratos.
Okay, right. I know Daddy Kratos, but I've played all the past games, and every time it's like a sex scene, it's like, I'm always like, go ahead, Kratos. It's going to be the end, go ahead. And at the end, before we go to Ragnarok, there's a tense scene, and I thought, there's going to be like Freya or Valkyrie that's going to come in and give Kratos a little, a good scene too before he goes.
Right.
And it didn't happen, and part of me was like, wow, he's not off. Calm down.
Yeah, man, this is definitely a new Kratos, but I do miss when I'm watching these videos like today. I miss where he was just like a vengeance, and like he didn't care. All he wanted to do was kill. I'm like, I miss that Kratos, man. I get this Kratos, but
I kind of wish there was like one of those moments, but I always felt like he was always reserved. Like the only moment that you really saw that was against Thor in the beginning, you know. And
no, you didn't even get that. You didn't even get that.
well,
He was still holding back
of it. You got a glimpse of that where he's like, "There's the God of War." I really liked that scene. And
my favorite part is when you actually see the gods, because they're all broken just as much as Kratos. So when you actually get introduction, you're like, oh, here's Ford, and you realise that he's been mentally abused by his father. No one actually trusts him. He's a god. He's like, he's out of shape, and he's like, he looks down at like Atreus, but you can see that people look down at Thor. Like Hondo, he just goes, oh yeah, you're just the fat guy. And you can actually see it, and like he is a broken guy that he can relate to Kratos going, remember we were powerful and all this, and now we're a disgrace to our family, our kids ate us, and just drink. And I thought that was a great thing.
I think, like, now that I'm thinking back, I think the intro was my favorite part through the entire thing. Just the sit down with Odin.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah,
and Thor, where Odin's kind of like talking to them, or actually Thor's the first one to talk. And he starts the brief conversation. Then Odin kind of interrupts and says, "All right, let's get down to the brass tacks. You know, let's get into."
No, what I love is the way Odin, he reaches over and he takes Thor's cup first, or Kratos' cup.
Yeah.
Then he goes back for more, like to say, if you're not drinking the mead, I'll friggin' drink. I'm the old father. I thought that was.
Harold said, "Oh, go ahead." Now I'm just gonna read his comment. Say Heimdall broke Kratos a bit, at least enough to kill him.
Yeah, but I still felt like he was he could have been a lot more brutal to Heimdall. Well, he warned him.
Well, I understand the whole like personality change too, because it's crazy. Because you look back from God of War 1 through 3, he's just full of hate. He kept getting like screwed over constantly. Like at a certain point, he was just like, "Nah, you guys are all dead. I don't even care anymore." Because every time he showed like any passion or anything, like something happened. So he kept getting screwed over and over, constantly broken, built back up. And then he was just at the breaking point, like, nah, I'm just going to kill everybody. And then now in 2018 to Ragnarok, obviously he met his wife. He found out what love is again, you know, because what happened to his original wife and kid, like he killed them, you know, he did a lot of messed up stuff. And it's like, he's getting older too. Everyone gets older. It's just like, to me, his change of personality felt more natural because and you learn from your mistakes and you are older. We see him. He has a beard. He's older. He's not young anymore. And you see the wrinkles in his face in Ragnarok. You could see that shit. Even I was like, damn, he look old now.
And you know, I was like, look how old. You know what's cool is when I watched that timeline thing, I didn't realize, but since God of War 3 and God of War 2018, that was 10 years. 10 years had went by since Kratos was in the new land for 10 years. Think about so he got married and had a kid. I mean, his kid was young at that point, but he was there for 10 years. I was like, oh wow, I didn't like, because we played all these games at different times.
It's supposed to be 150 years from like the last game to the 2018.
150?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because the guy said a decade had passed. My bad.
So in the end, he tries to get rid of the chains. He tries to, as he travels the world, and that's how he ends up now. But to me, the director said that he's just as powerful as the past games. But to me, with age, I don't know if it was like me mentally looking at Kratos, I thought he was weaker. Even though he wasn't weak, because in the end, you've seen him pick up stuff. Maybe he wasn't showing off his strength, but when you're seeing like Thor, you smash through a wall, and Atreus like, wow, you done that faster than my dad. And he was like, wow, doesn't your dad do stuff like this? And I don't know if that's caution, but I felt like Kratos seemed a little bit weaker with all the activities that he was picking up.
Yeah, definitely.
Stones
or because just the way they wanted to set up the game, they might have just made him seem weaker. It's kind of hard to say because it's like, because Kratos used to just really rely on anger for his strength for everything. So yeah, in a way he was weaker because he was trying to focus his strength, not using anger, but just, you know, being there for his son. However he wanted to manifest it, right? But anger definitely wasn't the choice.
Yeah, but there was a part where he was like, close your heart, Atreus. That's how you get stronger. Then before Ragnarok, he was like, no, you do you. Don't close your heart off. You use a different emotion that's not rage or anger.
Let me ask you this: was there anything predictable? For me, that bar fight was predictable. If you guys watched when I was streaming it, I was like, "They're about to have a bar fight. Tell me they're about to have a bar fight," and that was predictable. That part was super predictable. But it was cool though because I was like, it was predictable, but I was like, dude, if they make them have a bar fight, that's gonna be kind of cool. Because would they really do that? But it seemed like that's what they were setting up. Is there a scene for you guys that you was like, you seen this coming?
Oh yeah. There's a few in there that I saw coming, like Freyr basically dying to like get everybody out at the end. I called it like 4 hours prior. I was like, he's gonna die. If anyone's gonna die in this final scenario, it's gonna be him. And sure enough, a couple hours later, boom. And I was like, the sword guy in Vanaheim as well. I was like, he didn't have a side quest to do. There's like, it just felt like that character was not important. And when the time came and like the kind of like dragons are like attacking them and he just like kind of stands there. I'm like, he's just gonna sacrifice himself. He's gonna do this. And then he did. You know.
You're like he's out. Yeah. What about you, ISO? Was there any parts that were predictable you kind of seen coming?
I don't know. I had guesses, but I can't remember the specific parts.
Okay.
Like I just kind of like went through with them. Like it happens, but not. It's like guesses, but I can't remember specifically. I really don't. So I guess for the most part, like I wasn't surprised, but I wasn't exactly right either. I just don't know how significant it was.
I mean, to me, it was so predictable because in the end, it was already foreshadowed that Ragnarok was going to happen. This person had to die to get the horn, and the snake had to fight Thor, and Odin had to do. And I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
The only thing that I didn't guess is I thought that Loki would have put the mask on and looked in. I thought they would look through the crack, and he would have get.
I did too. Oh, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say just before that scene, like in that scene where he's holding the mask, I was like, he's gonna break it, because it's so reminded me of the scene in what was it, World of Warcraft, Shadowlands or whatever. It had there's like a scene where you think Sylvanas is gonna put on like the Lich King's helmet, but instead she breaks it. And I was like, he's gonna break it. Like that's what he's gonna do.
I thought he was gonna put the mask on, and then he was gonna see like a mirror image of himself. I thought he was actually gonna see Loki, not Atreus, the Atreus that we see, and then the Loki, from like the trickster. So I thought that he would have seen himself looking back in the mirror. That's what I would have thought it would have been.
Here's my thing. I didn't know what he would see, but I kind of felt cheated a bit, right? Like this was like. Because a lot of the game had to do with the mask. So I thought like, okay, there's going to have some big thing about seeing through the crack. And when they totally broke it, and I was really like, no, really? We're never going to know? And I felt like Zeus. I mean, not Zeus. Wow. I felt like Odin at that point. Like, no, like you robbed me.
Well, the whole point is, Odin said like to Atreus, like, is this all we are? Are we just gods to the lower forms of life, like humans? Is that all we are, to be worshipped? Isn't there more for us godhoods and stuff like that? So I thought like there was going to be another level of ascension or something like that. And just the masterpiece, it's like, we don't know now, do we? We don't know what happens to them. Or we don't know what happened. Are they dead?
Oh,
man. Who's got the...
So I have a question for you guys. Did you think the Odin fight was ridiculously easy?
Yeah.
I mean,
okay,
it wasn't hard, but
no, it was. I thought that fight was the easiest fight ever. The Thor fight before that was harder.
I think because
I
you got
the Heimdall fight was like the easiest fight.
I think because you got the spear, it actually made it seem a lot more fluid in fighting after you started challenging the Ragnarok scenes and stuff like that.
I mean, I don't know. I felt like it was too easy,
I just used
I was like, this is it. Like I literally it was so easy to dodge. Like there wasn't anything that like killed you. If you fucked up, like there's really nothing. And I was just like, damn, they could have been a little bit harder.
That's my biggest problem I have is like the final fights with Thor and Odin just didn't feel epic enough. Like when I think back on like the 2018 God of War, where you're like, on the top of like the giant, like chasing down Balder, and like the boy shooting the arrow while you're flying through the sky. It just felt so much more epic than like fighting Thor and Odin in front of the Great Hall. It was like it was such like I wish there was something more epic happening. Like maybe Ragnarok comes in and starts swinging, and you're like battling while it's coming down.
See, we all thought that. To me, I thought like when Odin was dead, Ragnarok never had a purpose. So I thought he was going to go on a chaos and destroy Valhalla, and you just went crap. There's no way out for us, and I thought that was the chance. He was going to be the end big bad, just to say. Well, now we have to take Ragnarok down to save.
That's what I thought too, and I was a little annoyed. I was a little annoyed that they did all this stuff. You go on this adventure to get Ragnarok to. Well, it was so weird because the guy name was Ragnarok, but the thing was Ragnarok, right?
Because
and then go.
The fire giant said, like, you've got my chaos flame, like, primordial flame. You got my wife's ice. So technically speaking, the blades of chaos absorbed this primordial magic that made Ragnarok. So I thought to myself, that he's going to use that plus his god powers plus the love of his son, who's a giant god, and I would have thought that would have been a perfect unity of like love and godhoods and need to survive and take down Ragnarok. I thought that would have been an amazing just way to end it.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be more to that too when he gave him his flame, but then nothing else happened. It was just like that's it.
Like that would have been cool if he got like a special power with the blades or something, with like some kind of fire ability.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, remember back in the day, he had the blades of chaos, and then at some point it was called something else, like because the same thing happened. It got like more powerful.
Exile. It was Exile, wasn't it? Blades Exile.
Yeah, the Blades of Exile. Yeah, they changed the name. So I thought that would have happened, right? It would have like looked a little different. Like when I was watching the video today of back in the day, they was a lot bigger too.
I thought right, Exile and the Blades of Athena was still the Blades of Chaos, but they weren't infused with chaos magic. But supposedly they're supposed to be different blades. I'm not sure, because in the end, Kratos has got the Blades of Chaos and he can't get rid of them, where we don't see Exile and Athena's blades. So that means that they weren't tied to Kratos.
But I will say this, just having a straight up fight against Odin to Iso's point, so I will be honest, you guys already knew I said from day one I was going to put it on easy. So yeah, it wasn't that hard for me because I had it on easy. But I would have liked something else. Like I would have liked Odin to turn into another form of a creature and get big, right? But then I think after I was watching the thing today, so God of War 3 that we all love, he did fight. The very last fight was just against Zeus.
Well, remember Zeus? When he defeated Zeus's body, he actually went into like a sort of primordial, like electric static, didn't he? And so that's what maybe Odin could have done. He could have sort of transcended his body, which sort of represents.
I thought the very last fight, it was like a fighting game. It was like it was like 2D kind of just standing against each other. Right? Was that the very last fight in God of War 3?
Shit, I can't remember, to be honest.
That's what I thought it was.
Wasn't the end fight of God of War 3 where you're both pulling the blades off each other, and yet you sort of fight, and then you've got the upper hand on the death kill.
I know. There's like you guys are struggling. I remember that.
Yeah, I just remember it was a fighting game, kind of like it was like no 3D. It was just you on one side, you on one side, and you remember
both fucked up. So like you were both moving slow, which is why they did it like that.
Yeah, I can remember one being like when you grew really big, and then it was just like one hit, two hit, and you're like, oh, and then you lean over to get the bridge sword. Or the sword was the bridge, wasn't it? It was like,
so how do you guys feel about Sindri?
Oh, I love the way the way he didn't swear, and it was Brock.
Oh, and he got broke.
And then it was like, fuck. He just didn't care, did he? He just lost hope for everything. I guess
he didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue I have is there was no real closure with Sindri and like Kratos and Atreus, and that's my biggest complaint. Is I feel like at a certain point I wished Sindri would saw past like it wasn't their fault. Like,
do you know what I wanted, Maker? Right? It's explained that he got 3 parts of his soul out of 4, I wanted a mission where you went to hell and you just found that one piece.
Well, it wouldn't be in. It would be in the light of Alheim.
But it would just be one piece, and that would have been like his love or emotion that he could have put in like a charm or something like that. I would have thought that would have been great closure, just that one piece of his soul, and the rest is.
I like the fact that they left it like that because it felt more real to me. It felt like for him to lose his brother the way he did, and Jen just eventually let go. Because I felt like they wanted this game to feel more. They gave video game characters more real life actions, right? So God of War 3 was just we all the God of Wars previously, they just put all these messed up things to make Kratos more pissed off. This was more emotional and more. This is why, so I feel like them leaving it as him just mad was like realistic. It was like, dude, you made me lose my brother. And I loved it when he said, you just kept taking and taking. I let you have my house. I let you have my weapons. I was like, oh man, that's real.
See, I don't know how much closure. Go ahead, Mega.
I was going to say, but at the same time, he completely ignored that everyone was fooled.
Yeah,
by Tyr. Yeah, it wasn't just that.
But you can, I mean, there was a lot of things that I didn't find, like closure to like Thor's daughter gets the hammer, and I thought, does she actually regret? And then you can actually find the actual real God of War Tyr, and there's a part where he goes, Kratos, that name rings a bell, and he goes, come back and let me ponder. And I thought to myself, oh, what happens if this God of War actually won't now because you found him now? He's not like the Odin in disguise, and he just thinks, do you know what? Let's fight. And I would have thought that would have been like a great DLC or something like that. And just seeing the perception from the gods, like what Thor done in the past, how he killed the giants, and what Tyr done and stuff. I would have just like little snip stories. So it's like,
well, one problem I have is like I feel like they could have had more, like either more giants or more like gods, Norse gods that show up, or
well, the giants are gods, aren't
they? Or like it just felt like they were missing a lot. The fact that there was only like 3 Aesir gods like throughout the entire thing was kind of lame.
It's just weird because they focused on the Aesir gods, never focused on the giants, which the giants were gods as well. Yeah. A lot of people actually think when you think of gods, they think of like the Olympian gods or the Aesir gods, but there's actually a lot of gods that are not on like these pedestal realms, should I say. So it would have been great to actually see them.
But the giants, the whole game, they try to make it like it was no more giants, and you find out that girl when you meet her. So Adabo, whatever her name was. So I feel like that was the whole thing, that there wasn't any giants, so it'd have been weird if it had been like you find out about her and she tried to.
Well, wasn't
the souls,
the fire giants, the fire giant and the ice giant was still alive. Well, not now.
Well, they were
fire
hiding,
ones,
right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
So the were giants. They just,
Yeah, but it would have been like, I mean, you could write anything, right? It's a video game, but I feel like just writing a fight into them. I feel like I want something meaningful. Well, at the same time, it's a video game. So
I want the giants to come back from the soul stones and actually be resentful. I thought that would have been a great take as well.
Yeah, or like they put like a giant soul in some place that they didn't like, and they had a battle ensues because of it. I could definitely have seen that be like a fun little thing that they have throughout the fight, but it just that as well. I wanted to bring that up towards the end with Ragnarok and with Fenrir. Like I thought Fenrir was going to be a lot bigger part in like the finale, and the fact that it wasn't.
You mean how you ruined that for me?
What?
You mean how you ruined that for me?
Did Fenrir keep hold of the powers?
I didn't ruin it for you.
He did. He could rip through dimensions.
Yeah, even at the very end.
Because in the end, it seems like Atreus is like, goodbye, boy, I'm on my own quest. You're all right with this female giant. It's all right, I'll be back. I was like, take him with you.
Yeah,
you wouldn't want a big huge.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's your dog. That's your boy.
Yeah, I would have too.
No one needs a Clifford when you've got a big friggin' Fenrir.
It's so weird. It's so weird to me because I'm like, I liked the way that they do a lot of like the adaptation to the Norse mythos. But at the same time, I feel like they underutilize those characters from Norse mythos. They just don't. They'll like the Fenrir was supposed to be a significant part in Ragnarok, and the fact that he doesn't even like. He shows up at one scene where he breaks down like a boulder, and it helps you.
Yeah, but what's cool though, man?
Well, imagine Ragnarok sort of like ready to punch Atreus and Kratos, and Fenrir just goes straight for the jugular, and you're like, "That's my boy, rip him apart." And it's like,
or if like Odin like grabs like Atreus, and then all of a sudden the dog like rips through dimensions.
But then or something like Fenrir gets injured and you hear him whelp, and then Atreus just goes like, "No,
my thing is this: I just needed something more epic, just like Harold said. Like for me, it was like when because what I thought was cool about this game, and people kept saying, even Maker said, he said, "You're gonna like it. It's gonna remind you of a Marvel movie." And I said, "That's a good thing for me." And it was like what I liked about Endgame more than what was the movie before it?
Infinity War.
Infinity War, right? Endgame had like the time heist. Okay, we're going on. I love when movies do that, like a Mission Impossible, right? So I felt like, oh, we got to go on this mission to go see if we can get the fire giant to join us. And so they do all that. They stab him in the chest. He unites his whatever. I'm going to become Ragnarok at Ragnarok. And then it was like, no, never mind. We need to stop him. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I really thought, right, because, like I said, because he had the primordial fire and ice, I thought it was going to be Kratos that would have banged his chains together and made like this Ragnarok blade or something. That's what I was thinking. I didn't know the beast Ragnarok would have came. I thought the blades would have became Ragnarok.
I wanted to correct Harold. It's not. Fenrir doesn't kill Thor. Jormungand, the Midgard serpent. I'll just call them the Midgard serpent. They kill Thor, and then in Norse mythos, Fenrir eats Odin. So Fenrir is the one that's supposed to kill Odin.
God damn.
So here's the problem, I think, though. Greek growing up, right? And you guys tell me if you agree or not. Growing up, Greek mythology was always more popular. I mean, I could go on and on, from Clash of the Titans, all these movies, Hercules from a cartoon, and then Norse mythology was never that popular. So I never, like when Maker was telling me about this before I even played the game, he was mentioning all these characters. I'm like, I never even heard of none of these. I just heard of Thor, and mainly because of Marvel. To be honest,
in the past, we used to like watch Sinbad. When I used to watch Sinbad with my dad, and you knew what a Gorgon was. You knew who Medusa was. You knew what a troll looked like and stuff like that. And you just thought, them and the Egyptians. They're the gods that I learned as a kid.
Yep.
I was also a little disappointed that Hati and Skull weren't in at the end there. Like, it would have been so cool to see them show up and eat like the sun and moon of the realm, and it just be pitch like blackness with like maybe like stars illuminating like this like battlefield. That would be such a cool. There's so many things I think that they could have done with like the Norse mythology to also make it close to the like the Edda with what they had in their stories. But they just, I feel like a lot of those characters were kind of wasted away. I love the Garm fight. Don't get me wrong, where Garm becomes Fenrir. Like, that was one of my favorite fights because it felt epic, because you got this giant like wolf chasing you down, and it's awesome.
I want to ask each of you this: what was your favorite boss fight, if you could choose one? I will go. I honestly, fighting the big wolf was cool, and I hear some people use it as a negative and say, "Oh, this game held your hand." But I thought it was cool, some of the conversation characters have, because I feel like I'm Kratos as I'm playing, right? And I feel like Atreus is my son, and we're talking. And as I'm having that fight, and the wolf is swinging the chain and is trying to smash me, and he's trying to tell me, freeze the chain. And I'm like, man, I don't care. I'm not paying attention to this kid. And I'm doing my own thing. And he's like, freeze the chain. And eventually I'm listening, and I'm like, oh, wait, he just told me, like, freeze the chain like 10 times. And I'm like, oh, and I catch on, freeze the chain. I thought that was cool, but fighting is big, because I love the other God of Wars, like the Hydra, the Poseidon, like, we go on and on, right? So for me, this gave me that big moment that I needed. Like, when I was playing the game, I was like, okay, So far, I loved it, but it was like there's certain things I need to happen. I need a big boss fight. I need to fight Thor again, which never happened, and I need to
You fight Thor right at the end. He's only got one phase though.
Yeah,
it didn't really feel epic.
Yeah, and then I needed you're right, and then I needed. See, I always forgot, and I needed to fight Odin. So, but then I really liked the Heimdall fight, though. I really, really like that. So for me, though, but the Wolf was my favorite boss fight. What about you, Maker?
It's between that and the Thor fight in the beginning.
Okay.
Because like the Thor fight in the beginning had like 3 phases, so you're like the battlefield was changing. It felt like this epic scenario. But I do think that sequence with the wolf, them trying to figure it out, like I'm gonna try something, but trust in me scenario was really just when Atreus hops onto the chains and like he jumps over to the other one and then he slings him up on top of the wolf. I was like, that's a really cool scene.
Yeah. What about you, Iso?
I think I'm gonna go with the first thing that popped in my head when you asked the question. I think that was the fight against the Needhog or whatever, the one that protects a tree.
Oh yeah. That one was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like that. Remind me. Wait, what was that?
Oh, when Freya was helping you. Yeah, when Freya was helping you and you were trying to release those veins, the tree roots, so that you could free her, so she can travel to any realm. That's when the Needhog or whatever popped out.
Yeah.
It split the dimension from the tree and was trying to kick your ass.
It's the dragon that basically protects the Yggdrasil, the tree.
Yeah. What about you, Hoults?
Do you know what? I didn't actually really like any of the boss fights, to be honest. Because I'm biased because like when I played past God of War, so like say you're killing Gaia. Every time you like killing a guy, it was like, Kratos, are you sure you're doing this? You will not just damn me, you'll damn the world. And when you kill a god, it's like killing Poseidon. You do know you're going to damn the water. You need me, Kratos. And they always begged for the life. And we were all blinded by range that we just went, who cares? And we set the world to chaos, right? And it was just when the boss battles are like, that sort of taunting you, and you're like, I'm going to get you. Like when Hercules in the past game taunted me, when I got hold of him, I just couldn't stop frigging boo, 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 and the trophy popped up, and I was like, wow, I feel like I'm really playing the part of Kratos, which is actually great. So in this game, there was nothing that really got my blood pumping, where I'm like, epic first scene, transition to the second one, oh my god, the power, and there wasn't nothing really that got me in that mindset.
Oh, I think I'm with Harold on this one. He said, "Nah, Hoults, you gotta choose one."
I mean, okay.
And he said his was the first time you faced Thor.
Okay,
I send it to you, Lion.
I like. Was it Honda with Atreus when he was sort of, and he sort of like, this is the first time, boy, you're facing a proper Seer god, a high ranked Seer god, and he was just taunting you. And when you turned into like the bear, he was like, "Ooh, scary, the bear." And he was just dodging everything, going, yeah, you haven't got a clue. And if you can't beat me, you're never going to beat anyone else. I think that was the scene I liked.
I wish there was like more phases or more things that happened in the boss fights, at least for the story. I just feel like I never felt like anything. Like I enjoyed 2018's boss fights because that finale fight to me felt like a finale battle.
I don't even remember that. That's crazy.
You don't remember him where
I think
they're fighting and he winds up punching the boy and he finally gets his weakness, which was the mistletoe arrow.
Well, I love the way that he was always taunting Kratos, and every time he was trying to hurt him, he was like I'm going to just come back, Kratos, until he found us. Because but Boulder was always just there going, I'm numb, I can't feel nothing. Give me your best shot, and it just didn't seem to phase him.
My problem with Boulder was I didn't know who the hell he was till the game started, and I felt like him being the big bad, and I didn't even know him at all. Like it was just hard. It was like I always God of War 2018 ended with me just wanting so much more because I was like, They mentioned all these characters I never knew. I knew a Thor, and they teased them. You never, and I'm thinking like you're gonna face Thor, and you never face Thor, and I get it because it made more sense now. But yeah. So God of War 2018, like they have a scene that this one never gave me the feeling. The feeling you got, well, two things. The feeling you got when you had to go and get the Chains of Olympus. You find out you're playing the whole game and you're only using the axe, and it was cool. And then when you're like, no, he's not, no. And then you go home, pull up the floorboard, and you're like, oh my God. So that, I give it that. And then also at the very end, when he reads it, it says my name is Loki. And I'm like, what? Right? And then in this game, it wasn't as big as like, I got all excited at the end, but it was like, okay, so he's Loki, whatever. But I felt that the fact that it was Thor, like, and I get the boss fight itself, maybe it was cooler, but without it being meaningful, the character, I was like, you know what I mean? So, because
I like the beginning fight because you killed their sons, and so like this is him. He's like, this is what blood payments are.
I mean,
I get to take a piece of you for what you took from me.
What was so funny is that Odin.
Hold on, real quick, Hoults, before I leave him too long, let's bring in none other than Lion. He's going to join us. He said he might be able to join today. So cool.
What's everybody doing?
Doing good, man. Thanks for joining us.
Odin at the start was like, you know, Thor, don't worry about it. Your sons were bloody idiots. They were fools. They only had a certain purpose. And he seemed not to give a crap. And then at the end, he was like, you destroyed my family. You done this. You came to my house. And I was like, Odin, you went to his house first. Yeah, stop being a little narc. You started this, mate.
So, Lion, man, you jumping in here. We're not going in any special order. We're just kind of discussing the game, spoiling it. And I seen Sanchez said, no spoilers. Listen, you had to read the title. So, yeah. So definitely, Sanchez, if you're still there, make sure you leave. But just give us some, just talk about the game a little bit for you. How'd you feel about it? Moments. Just throw a couple things in there as we get into it a little bit.
No, this game was fantastic. I had an amazing time. I took my sweet time beating the game. It took me like a week and a half, I think, to beat it. Because I was investigating everything, collected. I think I did most of the side quests, except for the ones where you have to collect things. You know, I started fighting the Berserkers. I beat in 2 or 3 of those guys, and those are fun fights. Because the first Berserker that I ran into was I forgot the realm of the dwarves. I think it is. There's like a little train, and there's a Berserker when you first get the spear, and I didn't know what a Berserker was, and I put my sword into that thing, and this guy just woods me. I was doing no damage to this dude. Like, I was like, there's no way I can beat this guy.
I feel like they put some of those scenarios there just to like say you're not ready yet and to come back later. That one in particularly felt like for a normal, because I played on normal first. It felt like fighting one of the Valkyries on hard mode for the original, like the 2018. So I definitely think that those Berserker fights are meant for after you beat the game. It's just they don't really tell you that.
No, I beat it. Back and beat it later just because I lasted like 20 minutes. I'm only halfway down his health, and I'm doing everything I can to evade attacks, to use my Stonewall shield and everything, and it's not a budget, so I just decided to die and get out of that fight. I came back after beating the game, and it was more of an even fight at that point.
Well, you know what's so funny about it? Because that's the thing, like one of the parts where I didn't see where you have to throw the sphere to sort of hook off the wall to carry on with the story. So I thought that was part of the story. I thought I had to kill him to progress. So I keep on going back to the fight until I realised I can't do this. And then I realised.
Yeah, that spear as well. I love playing with the spear.
I hated the spear.
Yeah, Maker was telling me that. I'm playing the game, and Maker was like, all I know is I don't like the new weapon you get. And I'm like, dude, this is cool as hell.
I mean, it's good for fighting like small enemies, but when you're fighting anyone like medium to large size, it just doesn't feel super effective. Like I'll use the abilities for it, but then I instantly swap off to
I never
like a stagger little enemies.
For the blades. Huh?
I never really used the axe until later in the game. Then I realized
wow.
that it's actually a very good hitter, isn't it? And I was like, oof.
The axe does a lot of damage.
Yeah,
like
the axe is
especially
a
if you
damage dealer for sure.
yeah, if you charge it up and can hit with the frost, and then because you could really combo off of it and do a lot of damage, especially if you activate the axe
What I
ability.
liked was Chains of Chaos. I used to do the Hyperion Pulse, so I used to latch onto them. I used to pull them to me, press R1, stab them a few times, then press R2 and uppercut them in the air, and then do button combos. And then I used to feel like I was just always like, where are you going? Like Scorpion, get over here, where are you? And then, because I couldn't do that later on in the game, because it was just too many, I just thought getting the axe, that was going one-on-one, going, yeah, come on. And I thought, the spear was good, but I sort of got bored of it fast.
Yeah, I will say this: the combat, man. I love the God of War 3, but the combat in this just spoke to me so much. The different I just felt like good. Like there was times, again, I played on easy, so just hear me out. I would run up and say, you know what? And then you could press down after you get speared, and then you put away your weapons. And it's just the fact that you could punch and I would do the Sparta kick. Like this is Sparta, kick people in their chest, and then I'm like, you got an axe, and like it just made me feel the combat felt so fun. And not like, oh, it's a video game, so you need to. Again, I played it on easy, but that's why I played things on easy, because it was fun to where it was like, I got to choose what I felt like using at the time, because I just felt like if it was a real fight, right? And let's say I felt I was a really good fighter, and I'm like, you know what? I could use this chair. I could use this, right? Versus like, oh, this boss is so powerful, you have to use the axe on him because you can't do nothing else. So for me, I was like, oh, if it was so much, the combat was fun. I truly enjoyed
I was that person
that
once I threw the ice axe, I always forgot to return it because I was too busy hitting the shoulder buttons going, wait, what's happening?
I mean, there were some enemies you had to use specific weapons when they had like those, they blocked their health bars.
Yeah, because you had the Bifrost, didn't they? They had certain Bifrost on them.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy, and the variety of shield options. Like I ended up playing it at the end with the Stonewall shield, but the parry shield, the one that you can run and punch and have like kinetic energy. Like the shield gameplay was fun. I enjoyed that addition to the game. I think that was a really cool touch from the developers.
Let me ask ISO this. ISO, did you do a lot of the side quests, or did you leave a lot for you to do now that you beat the game?
I had to stop doing side quests, man. I did side quests in the beginning, and I was like, nah, this ain't. It was way too long. I was like, I couldn't do it anymore. I wanted to know what's going on in the story. You know,
there was a side quest though that was part of the story in a way.
See, I didn't do any of the side quests. And then Maker. This was cool. I actually got to thank Maker. I wouldn't have did it. Maker was watching when I beat the game, and he was like, you're going to want to go to the funeral. I was like, what funeral? It was all over my head. And he was like, go to... And you don't get the actual credit. Oh, wait, ISO, did you do that?
No, I didn't. You can say I don't care.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, so, dude...
so I'm good.
Yes. All right, well, cool. So, did you? so I had no clue. And Maker
ending credits.
You don't get
it was a little bit. Dude, the ending credits after the funeral was like a half an hour long. I was
I was watching your stream, and I was the person that once it's done a slow stroll out the door, I went, where should we go now, brother? And Freya was like, I've turned the game off, I'm not bothered. And when Making in chat went, stay and watch the funeral, I was like, funeral. I was like, oops.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, okay. So I went to the funeral, and you had it was cool. Like you had to find your way there. Maker's like, no, bro, you gotta. I'm like, thank God he's here, bro. And I was like, man. So and when you do it, and it's like it felt like, and Maker said it perfect. Maker said this should have been part of the game, and I think you're right, because it robbed some people who probably would have been like, all right, I'm done, because it was like, dude, it was Brock's funeral. Like, how was that
happened before Ragnarok? Like before they went to Asgard, you know, and because like that would have been a lot more emotional. You'd have been like yeah, let's mess him up, you know. I would have been, at least, you know, because you're all in the feels at that point.
You know, the side missions that I think they felt part of the story were the one in Vanaheim. After you're in that sky boat that you're flying around, that one guy that sacrifices himself falls.
Oh yeah, yeah. My man jumps off and attack the two dragons.
there's a side quest to rescue him because he's alive.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, he's
Oh.
alive. So this is spoiler, I guess.
No, I mean, I personally left the side quest because I wanted to get straight. So ISO, like ISO said, he was doing them. I was like, no, man, I just need to get through this game. So I purposely left. Like, I did like no side quests, and so now, like, you just telling me that.
But not just
At that
that.
point, I was like, I wanted to finish the game, and you know, I just wanted to get,
But not
get
just
through
that,
it.
you do that side quest, and as you go to it, you find this other little side quest, like from this ghost about a story. Because there is a lightning that happened, like a Thor had a fight with someone in the middle of that crater, and every single side quest that you do in that area, you're helping another ghost kind of get some kind of peace with themselves. It tells you the story of that fight, and it ends up that the fight was between Thor and the Kratos' wife. So you learn, and then there's I forgot there was a small message about what she wanted Kratos to do, what she brought Kratos over to this particular world. So that whole side quest kind of branches out to like 5 other side quests into that little area.
How cool is it that they showed her in this game, right? So the first game, you never see what she looked like. And then they show her. I mean, I don't like when games do like little, you know, ghosts or flashback, but it was cool for this purpose. And the fact that the actor they used, they made her look like her. And for me, I always remember that girl from True Blood. Like, I don't know if you guys seen True Blood, but
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I just didn't really like it because they didn't really flesh her character out really at all. You barely got to understand who she was.
Yeah,
you know, people talked about how she at the end, you're like, oh, she predicted this. She was trying to put you on the right path. But you really never got to understand who she was or why Kratos really got attracted.
Well, it was at the end on the hair, because she had loads of prophecies, didn't she, that she wanted to believe in or try and change. And then when you seen at the end people worshiping Kratos, I was like, was that an end goal as well, to protect Atreus?
Nah, dude, I hated the ending.
And then make him be worshipped, because I was like, that's a bit stupid.
No.
Kratos didn't need to be worshipped, and in this prophecy, it looked like people were worshipping him.
It's more like people were praising, you know, him for what he did. And I think that's more of a of like part of the ending where he goes, all right, there's much work to be done.
Right.
He's going to help rebuild, and I think that's what that prediction is that he was going to kind of be that symbol of rebirth, like rebuilding, probably for the realms.
But he's only. Want to say what's up to K9, who's in the building? What's up, man?
He can only rebuild by his hands, can't he? He hasn't got no godly ability to sort of like grow crops or change the tides. He's got nothing like that, has he?
But he was one of the ones to like end Odin, which was a big like he was a big hand in all the realms to force them to do these specific things, and Kratos was the one to free them of that, you know, and by fighting Odin.
Yeah. So you know what's crazy? I keep hearing people say Plague's Tale Requiem have bigger stakes than God of War. And I have no clue, and I don't care if it gets spoiled. But every time they say that, I'm like, I don't know if they're joking or they're for real. Because I feel like Ragnarok was supposed to be the destruction of the world, but then he found out it was supposed to be only the destruction of Midgard, right?
No, it was supposed to be all the realms. It depends on which prophecy you've with, didn't it?
Yeah. So that's super big stake. So I don't know if people are just joking, but now I'm like, what is the ending, or what was the stakes of this?
It's related to family and losing a loved one. Just put it like that.
It's also there is a risk of the world, you know, effectively being taken over at the end of
in a Plague Tale?
Yeah,
like New York.
No, like because that's kind of like the end of a Plague Tale is you're trying to prevent like the world from its destruction. So, I mean, I guess it's
Ragnarok.
Similar.
Same thing as God of War. All right, cool.
Yeah,
I was just curious, but I don't want to ruin this for anybody who came here for God of War. I was like, I didn't play a Plague Tale, but I'm just curious, and I know people. It's a lot of laughs and all that, but I'm just like, is that true? Anyway,
it definitely. I'll say this about Plague Tale Requiem. It definitely felt a lot more epic than the first one. The first one felt small scale in comparison.
That's cool. That's cool. Man. Oh, go ahead, Lion.
They did set up Sindri to be like a villain, I think, for the future, at least for a potential Atreus DLC. I don't know. He might want to get some revenge from Atreus.
But I don't know. The game director said to not count on DLC, so it looks like they're not going to be pursuing DLC content for Ragnarok.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and as we talk about this, let me just pull this on the screen.
And
they
already said that Ragnarok isn't or is the end of the Norse saga. So most likely the next game won't be in the Norse area.
See, I don't. The whole idea of like Kratos going to other gods now is it's like he's mature.
I don't think it's gonna be Kratos.
He's wise. So I feel like now, unless it's a different, like say God of War, like I just mentioned, then and stuff like different stuff. To me, I would like a remake. Go back to the Greek mythology and start again with this engine and this open world and just.
No, I don't want to do that unless you're going to remake the game.
I know, but
I feel like already did all that.
Of course, it's going to be a remake. Of course, it's not going to be linen puzzle game. It's going to be a reimagination of the first game for gamers. Like just because we played it like nearly 20 years ago doesn't mean it wouldn't be great to actually tell the story for a new audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a while before we see another God of War, I think, because I think Cory Barlog is working on something else, and they have to let this rest a little bit before they bring something else out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit, but I think it's going to be the boys' adventures. So it's going to be like Atreus, just because Kratos seems to be intent on defending the Norse areas.
They could very well make an Atreus game, but I don't want to play as Atreus.
No, it remind me too much of Horizon, the whole bow and climbing and stuff like that. It's like
it would be cool as a DLC. I think that's why I thought about DLC. But I'll say this. Go ahead, Maker.
I was going to say, since they said that this is the end of the Norse saga, so end of Norse mythology, basically, it's got to be someplace different. And the only person that seemed to be going into different lands was Atreus at the end.
I'll say this: it feels nice to play a non-open world, like not fully open world. I've been playing so many open world games, having some really strict direction in some of the missions that you were going. It felt good, like it felt different because you kind of get fed up with just doing the open world kind of system. And now you have like set of goals that you want to go through, and there's gonna be something after you complete certain things. So I enjoy that part.
Now here's the part I was telling you guys. I just brought this up so we can see it. This is the part I remembered on God of War 3, where it was kind of like a fighting game. They're going back and forth. But I see there is another. It looked like there is another phase, like you were saying, with the whole electricity thing. So let me go to that part. I just wanted to rehash it, and I'm gonna do like you, ISO. I'm gonna download it now. There you go. Yep, you're right. So there was the regular phase, and now we got this phase. Cool. Yeah,
I see the destruction behind them.
Yeah, because I remember when Zeus goes in like the electric form, if you don't press the quick time event, he actually sort of overpowers you, and that's where he's
And here's what you was talking about. We was hitting Guy's heart. Yeah, so it was a lot going on. Then you start fighting him down here.
So how do you guys feel about the ending teaser stuff that happened? Basically with Atreus going on his own to find the other giants, and then them pretty much, teasing at the potential of basically the next one being Egypt. That was the whole thing being worshipped. That was Egypt art. I mean, mistake me if I'm wrong, but that definitely was a Norse art. So
that was the original plan, though. When there was some developer video, and it was Kratos arriving in Egypt, coming out of a cave. That was the original plan for the game to be Norse mythology to be in Egypt.
Yeah, so my question though is, at this point, with everything that happened, right? It don't make sense to me whatsoever for Kratos to go to Egypt. Period.
See, to me, I'm so used to Egypt in like TV, like Moon Knight and past shows.
Right.
So in the end, it's like if you're going to do something, do the Hindu gods and stuff like that. They seem to be more powerful.
Like the Mayan, there's a lot of different cultures that they could really delve into.
I wanted to do the Japanese gods, like go over there. We never really get a lot of that.
Well, why
You got a
though?
lot of that if you watch
What would be
anime.
the point?
Well, no. So Ross was, so Iso said why. So I think their why is because they did this game. So here, if they never did, because remember when in part 3, sorry, not part 3, in 2018 they showed that it was they showed the like board or whatever that showed the different symbols. So they showed the Greek symbol. They showed all these. They showed I don't know what, like 10 realms or whatever or something like that. So at the end of the day, that's the why because they foreshadowed it. So it's kind of like. I mean, I wouldn't want them. I wouldn't want him to go back. Go ahead.
I mean, that's not good enough for me because the reason why I ask why, right,
Mhm.
is because we had God of War 1 through 3. Obviously, Kratos messed up Greece. All that is jacked up. He went to here because obviously he couldn't stay where he was at. So in the story sense, it makes sense, right? He came here. He had a wife. He had a kid, and then all the stuff happened, right? Obviously, they got through Ragnarok. So now that occurred and we saw the character development of Kratos, he's accepting himself, like he's cool. He's not so much worried about his past anymore, right? Like he's kind of like, okay, like relief, right? You see that. What is the point now of him going to Egypt? Like, how are they going to tie up the story? Like, this is why he's going, not just because he wants to go. If you want to do that, okay, by all means do that. But no, what is the reason that he's going? Because
I think the boy's going because the boy's looking for more giants. Which
that's the only thing that can tie it in. Because that's what I was saying. That's the only thing I can think of that could tie in even anything else.
I just don't see no point of the Norse mythology because in the end of God of War 3, the whole point why they wanted the blade is because it all had godly powers and it had everything. And in the end, Kratos decides to stab himself to give hope to humanity. So in the end, when it was like, because Athena wanted it in the end, she was like, she's like sort of transcended. Kratos, you fool. Humans don't know what to do with hope. And he just smiled with a smirk on his face. So I thought that was a great redemption for Kratos. So in the end, I think you should just left it there. I mean, when the credits rolled and you seen the body moved, I was like, who took it? I never did believe that Kratos' strength, he went to a different realm. So to me, I was like, leave it at that. But then a few years later, I did enjoy the Norse, and now at the time I'm like,
it was going to be it too. Yeah, I didn't know they were going to make any more God of Wars. I was perfectly fine with how God of 3 ended.
That was cool.
Yeah, and now with me, it's like when someone says like Japanese, I'm like, no.
So let me ask y'all this though. Hold up, I gotta ask y'all this. Host just kind of brought it up, but we have Lion here. Now, what you guys don't know is Lion and I been going back and forth for about a week. So here's the thing. I'm gonna explain my side, and then Lion, you explain your side. I heard someone say that Kratos going from the Greek mythology and Norse mythology was kind of like geographic location. Long story short, it's kind of like if New York was Greece and let's say Africa was the Norse. So pretty much he just traveled. Now, that's when I look at it that way, it makes sense. I'm cool. Some stuff is a little weird, but that's where I look at it. Now, Lion, explain your interpretation.
So it's not just my interpretation. So Cory Barlog on GDC before the game came out explained that the different mythologies that he places them in different realms, in different universes of their own. When they use the word world means that each of them is held in their own separate world. So it's not that he just took a boat and went to from Greece to whatever,
But Lion, the comic.
Let him finish. I want to hear him flesh it out first.
It's not that he took a boat there and just appeared there. It's that for some magic he traveled through realms through a portal and arrived at this mythology. Because if you know of Greek mythology, Zeus is not just the god of that particular country. He rules the world. Odin rules as well. You're not gonna have the conflicting gods living in the same planet. It just doesn't make any sense at that point.
Well, Lion, the way I see it, because the comics state that Kratos wanted to get rid of the Blades of Chaos, so he got on a boat. He threw it in the river. Well, the next day, the blades reappeared. He went up there, buried them, reappeared. He got on a boat, went across the ocean, threw them in the ocean, they reappeared. He went to another land, and the legend of the Ghost of Sparta travelled to that land, and he was like, help us. And he was like, no, I'm not going to help no one. Carried on moving, carried on trying to destroy it. Came full round, and there was loads of people. As he moved across the world, there was more stories, and there was other creatures that wasn't in the Greek mythology talking to Kratos. Kratos, you can't run away from your fate. The fate has still got necessity for you. and then he came into the Greek mythology. So I think it was distance. But the problem is like, if you watch a TV show called American Gods, they all live together on the same world, but in certain regions, the people who pray to them create the heavens and hells. So I still think you can still have Valhalla and their hells, just like you can have Olympus and their hells, depending on how the worshippers of that region worship and create these planes of existence. So I still think it's Earth and Kratos is moving across, but in the end, depending on the worshippers, they create things.
But that's not what Cory Barlog explained. This is not what he explained. He was very clear when he said he had a graphic showing the different worlds. Everything is held separate. In the game, when Freya tells when she meets Kratos, like, I know you're not from this realm. She's even telling you that, like,
yeah,
plain
but
and simple.
The way I see it is, look at Marvel movies, for example. In a Marvel movie, in the Scandinavian countries, the North, like that, it actually states that they still believe Valhalla for Odin, right? But they're on Earth. But Odin and Thor are on a geographical different location. They're across the universe, and they use the Bifrost to come to what they deem as Midgard. So I feel like it is a distance of space, and that's how they sort of go across.
That's how
and there's realms. So in the end, when you watch a Marvel movie, they call Midgard a realm, but in the end, it's just Earth.
Well, so what about? Let me hear ISO. What's your take on that, ISO? Is it to you they're all on the same? The old God of War and this God of War, is it all on the same planet, or is it like a whole different realm, whole different plane of existence? And then I want to hear Maker.
Oh, bro, I have no idea. I mean, he got there, so obviously, if the boat thing worked, he got there. He got there.
In 2018, God of War in Tyr's temple actually is a Greek vase. So even Kratos crossed the realm. How did the vase get there? So how did the legends of
the Temple of Tyr allowed Tyr to go to different realms? He was using the Bifrost or whatever he was using, so he was able to travel to these other lands, these other worlds, these other realms to get those artifacts. Artifacts arrived there at that location. So Tyr, because if you could travel geologically, they would have not needed the seeds of Yggdrasil to go to Vanaheim, all these other places. You could just get on a boat and go somewhere else.
Yeah, I know, but think how long it would take on a boat. We're sitting in modern time, aren't we? Planes, boats, but a little wooden boat made out of a tree would have took a long, long time. So that's why I feel like they use the magic to go across the world.
Well, I think it is different realms. Like if you like the Yggdrasil seeds were kind of the way to transport yourself through these particular realms in the Norse mythology. But at the same time, Odin had a way with his ravens where he could transport realms with that as well. So I'm wondering if maybe Kratos or some sort of like Greek magic allowed him to transport through the realms, and that's how he was able to wind up somewhere on the Norse realms.
So I just believe that the gods couldn't go to other parts of the world because in the end they couldn't leave the worshippers. I think they were tied down to who prayed to them. And
how you explain Atlas? Atlas holds the world on his shoulders, right? So you mean the Odins never knew about Atlas, like holding the world? And
I know, but Mimir actually says, like, wow, it's hard to believe what prophecy or what story is actually true. So in the end, we don't know. Like was the serpent, like you say, the world serpent? It wasn't as large as the world, was it? It didn't bite its tail, and when it released its tail, Ragnarok happened. So in the end, I think it was just twisted words.
And then also, I think when they say realms, they just mean like land, like the lands. Yeah. Like when he's saying realms, they're not, because when Odin does his thing with the birds and he teleports, right? It's not like he went to a whole, like he say I went to this realm, but it was like a land. He went to a different geographic location when he.
But Asgard gets like completely demolished. Ragnarok stabs the sword in and it destroys that world. That's effectively what happens.
I think heaven and the heavens and hells. I think they're just created because of worship and praise. That's what I.
Well, what's interesting is Valhalla is kind of like a
well, it's the heaven, isn't it? It's a heaven, yeah, and so is Mount Olympus. Yeah. It's the heaven, isn't it?
And Valhalla exists in Asgard, and by destroying Asgard, there's no longer a Valhalla.
It's definitely a good talk, a good discussion. I mean, we could go on and on. Lion and I have been going. We secretly been going on for
I
like a whole
literally
week.
I brought him like I saw him. I sent you the conference that because if the developer tells you it's a different world. Like
Yeah, but you know the bad thing though? No, in the conference, the developer literally say geographic. When he said that, I was with it. And then he actually says that. I'm like, I said, Lion, bro, he says geographic locations. Like that was his own words. And that he should have never said that, and I would have been cool. He says that, and I'm like
diagram with 9 worlds.
I know it, and you heard him say that. You heard him say that though.
But once again, if you want to go back to like the stories in Norse, or you go back to the Marvel movie, Odin Hela in Ragnarok says Odin gave up after 9 realms. There's more realms. So in the end, people do actually state there's actually more realms than what Odin even knew, or visitors. So I feel like they just never had the energy or power to, unless they had an invading army, they couldn't attack. The Vikings couldn't attack.
I see it like the DC multiverse, where there's Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3, and that's basically how I see this world. So they are able, just like the DC character can travel between planets and different realities and dimensions. That's basically what I see this as. So Curtis went from one dimension where there was one all-powerful god to another.
See,
he destroyed this guy, and this is what's happening.
This is what's so weird. So in the end, in this story, Tyr has actually travelled realms. He's went to the Greek. Odin knows about the Greek pantheon gods. So in the end, he must have travelled, but the other gods would have sensed Odin's presence and killed him. Kratos is the only one that's actually sort of killed gods in both regions. So I feel like why didn't
they know about Kratos when Kratos first? I think there's some sort of like.
But his wife put sigils around the forest.
She did, but when he first arrived, that wasn't in place. You know, so they. Why is it that Faye was the one to discover him? I think it's kind of like a magic that they're able to sense the gods.
No, because she foreseen it, didn't she? Like in a giant vision.
Well, they fought like that. Like that's what, like in one of the flashbacks, she mentions how your father nearly like took my head off or something because they didn't really understand each other when they first met each other, and that to me shows that there wasn't really,
I think she knew of him because in the end she was the one supposedly leading him to this realm. But I think Kratos didn't trust another. I think Kratos didn't trust another sort of deity creature or whatever. So that's where they fought.
I think she saw visions. I don't think immediately. Like I think she was probably trying to help him, and he was resistant to it. I mean, because he's Kratos, he's gonna be like, no, I'm gonna do it my way. He's very stubborn, and I think that's probably where their argument started, and where he probably threatened to fight her. But I don't think he was under like a protection spell at that point in time when he first arrived into the Norse realm. And as before, I think it's more of like a focus thing that they need to be looking for that. They were revealed after the wards broke, but it still took time for Baldur to arrive. And he was Odin's tracker. He was Odin's best tracker. So he might have been actively looking.
Maybe he was.
He was
maybe didn't focus on Kratos because they were like Thor was too busy killing the giants and stuff like that.
They canonized this. They said that in Ragnarok, they said that he was looking for a giant for Odin. He wasn't looking for Kratos. He didn't even know Kratos existed. It was like that's why in the scenario when Baldur shows up, he goes, "I thought you'd be taller," because he was looking for a giant and not Kratos.
There you go.
Well, listen, I don't want to go back and forth on that because it's definitely a good thing. Lion and I have been going back and forth for a week already. Neither one, we can't come up with it. I get it, but it is interesting though to wonder, right? How did he get there? But that's cool. Where does he go next? Who knows, right? It almost make it like, they almost make it like Atreus will get his own game. I'll play it obviously, but I personally wouldn't. I would want Kratos to be in it. even if maybe they have scenes with him, like it starts off with Atreus, and then maybe after like 4 stages or missions, Kratos got to go.
Nah,
What do you guys think?
Don't be doing no Last of Us 2 to me. You know, it's either Kratos or no one. You know, that's what it is.
I'm perfectly fine if they don't continue.
I think they should focus on a new PlayStation 5 IP and just that's it.
I think it's too successful for them not to continue.
Oh,
I think that's the problem.
Yeah. There's no way in hell they're not making another game.
I think 7 years, 6-7 years, they'll have another one.
Yeah, 5-7.
I mean, this is the issue. I say no, but like I said, if the PlayStation 6 came out when coming 2 years in the cycle of PS6, I'd be like, oh.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
I feel fatigued with the franchise at the moment, and I feel like, you know.
You make a successful game, you're going to make more of it.
I just wish I just wish this game would get DLC. I would be so cool with just random missions. You know, this mission. I would be cool with backstories with his wife, because now they actually made a character. They got a person who plays her that's motion captured, right? I would be cool to say, you know what? Let's put some missions in there when he let's show him meet her. Like, I would sign me up. I would pay for it.
Maybe it depends on if they're going to win Game of the Year. Maybe they're going to actually.
I don't think that matters. I don't know. I think money's what matters.
Yeah,
you know, and
it made a lot. But why don't we ask that though, right? So before we close this thing out, let's all. I personally think it's going to win Game of the Year. And I said that like a year ago. I think it's going to win. And I'll give a short thing. I think that typically Game of the Year games are story-driven games, and I think runner-up would definitely be Elden Ring. Plague Tale may shock some people, but I think if anything, it will be Elden Ring. But I think what will hold Elden Ring back, because the story isn't as prominent in the game as God of War. You got to search for it. But that's my thoughts. So I think Game of the Year goes to God of War. What about you? We'll go around. What about you, Maker?
I think Elden Ring's gonna win it, but I think God of War is gonna win a lot of awards. You know, I think they're gonna win like best narrative. They're gonna win best performance. They're gonna win a lot, like maybe even art direction. But I think ultimately, when it comes down to it, I think Game of the Year they're gonna pick Elden Ring just because of the impact and that it's not a continuation of something. It is evolving. It's something new.
Okay, what about you, Lion?
I'm torn between that because I had a blast with Elden Ring, and I think God of War was fantastic. Like I did and I'm gonna still playing the game. And between the two, I have to say, just at the end of the day, I think Elden Ring should be the winner. And I think I'm with Maker, and God of War will win a lot of awards, but Elden Ring is gonna take the big one.
Nice. What about you, Hoults?
God of War was a great game. Like what the other two just said, it's going to win accolades in loads of places. My bet money's on Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Because I thought it was more fresher, for example, and I enjoyed that. Not saying God of War it was any way stale. I just felt like I enjoyed it. It didn't. I don't think it defined a generation for me. When I'm looking back now, because in the end, I'm talking about past God of Wars that I felt like got me more hyped in God of War than this one. I'll definitely recommend this game to play everyone, and I hope that this game hurries up and goes to PC so a bigger demographic of people can actually play it.
Right.
And
what about
it makes more money in for Sony Studios, and we'll see where it goes from there.
What about you, Isa?
Plague's Tale, god damn it. Plague's Tale is going to be Game of the Year. All you guys are wrong. What the hell? Plague's Tale is Game of the Year. Cool. That game left such an emotional impact. I was like, yo.
Emotional damage.
It was emotional damage, yo. No, I streamed that shit. I was so sad at the end. I'm not going to talk about it. I was so sad. Like, I literally was like,
you didn't have to say I haven't beat it, but just by when you're talking, there's only 2 characters that are main characters. That the way you're talking, there's only one way this is gonna go.
Hey, it was sad. It was a sad ending. I was like, damn, why you do this to me? But yeah,
hold on. K9 is talking about God of War sounds depressing. That game sounds depressing. What the hell are you talking about then?
Nah, it's different.
I would say Plague Tale is more depressing.
It's a different depressing though.
It's a different depressing.
It's a good one. It's a good one. It's a good impact. Nah, I hope
Okay, so
I would hope Plague Tale win, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
yeah, it doesn't really matter. But that's cool that we all, well, two of you guys say, we all almost say different games besides two of you guys. That's pretty cool.
I do know that the panel and then the fan favorite is going to be totally different. It's just going to be between two. Yeah. There's not going to be a unified decision.
Favorite, I think.
What'd you say?
Halo's gonna win fan favorite, I think, again this year.
Halo is gonna win fan favorite. What if Stray wins, bro? That would be.
I don't know. I don't think.
I would. Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, get this Rick.
It might win best indie, but I don't think it's gonna win.
Yeah. Is Stray on one of the nominees for Game of the Year?
Yes,
it is. Yeah.
Yo, it had like
nominees, two real nominees there.
It had like 5 nominations for something on
Plague Tale, Horizon, God of War, Xenoblade Chronicles, and
Horizon Forbidden West. It's 6 games.
I just said that. I thought it was 5.
No, it's 6. It's 6. It is 6
for Game of the Year.
You're leaving out Horizon Forbidden West.
I said so. Plague Tale, Horizon, God of War, Xenoblade Chronicles. Yeah, Stray. So it is 6 then. Plus 5.
You know what they should do next? They should just do a dog version. They'll probably still make hell of money.
They probably will.
I imagine that's all the controversy. Game of the Year. Where's our dog version?
They're gonna make House Cat. Like the story of a house domestic cat.
Where is this picture at?
Wait, looking for a cow.
I was just looking for all the games because the way he said it. Hold up. So Plague Tale, Elden Ring, God of War. Hold on real quick. Because it's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's the game you want to win. Xeno Chronicles, Stray, what's her name? Aloy or Horizon, God of War, Elden Ring, and Plague Tale. 6 games.
Yo, I feel sorry for ignoring Stray. Sorry, Stray. You know, you deserve
I know that's messed up. But what you gonna say, Maker? You want the what?
I'm a little sad I didn't get to discuss one of my biggest complaints about the game.
Go ahead.
Oh, send it. I want to hear this.
I think it's how they don't explain, actually the biggest thing I would say is you know how the fates predicted that Kratos was gonna die, and then there's this like this mural of like he's gonna die. Where was the change that was supposed to happen in that? Because it never really like felt like there was a shift in their fate.
Well, to me, I thought when the fate said it, I thought they said that they couldn't see the outcome, the true outcome. They were just very educated people that if they don't change the behavior and attitude, whatever they said was always going to be that choice. So I feel like they just went with the probability option. I felt that's what I believed.
But I feel like there wasn't that change. Like there was so many predictions that Kratos was going to die, but there was no moment in the game that ever felt that he was close to dying or that he was intended to die at that moment. And
you mean in this game?
Yeah, in Ragnarok.
Okay.
I think maybe the change might have been putting his hands on us and said, open your heart, don't close your heart, don't do me, don't have anger and remorse. And I think that's what made him destroy the mask. I think love and the supporting
like
people.
So was Odin going to be the one to kill him, or
Atreus supposed to be the one? I think.
No, I think maybe if Atreus used the mask, say he closed his heart off and he used the mask and went for like Odin's decision, then Odin would have no use and then would have killed Kratos. I think that was the decision. Because Atreus destroyed the mask, he destroyed the reason why to fight over something. So I think it was just.
I don't know.
Yeah, that definitely changed.
I still wish there was like a moment where it felt like Kratos was going to die because of this, and it shifted because of like some outcome. Like I would have loved to have seen like the moment like where Kratos is like about to die, and then let's say like Freya jumps in front and protects him because she has a change of heart because of Kratos' change from a hardened man to someone who's a lot more forgiving and a lot more like being a better person.
Well, I want to know. I need a comedic cutscene now to see what the fate's actually done when he actually got proven wrong. Like, what did he do? Did he sit there and go, sisters? We're wrong.
They just shrugged. They're just like,
that was That was one of the moments in the story that I was like, I feel like they could have done better on. And then Thor teleporting the Midgard serpent back in time. They just did not explain that all. They just saw the Midgard serpent disappear, and that was it.
Well, you see what Harold said though, right? He said the change was when Kratos told Atreus that he should open his heart, and it was the fact that there was no tension of Kratos almost dying.
Yeah, I think that there should have been that moment, because like if you ever watch those shows where you're changing fate, there's always that moment where you're like, they're going to die right here, but then it changes because they do something different or they change their own fate. That's what I want. I wanted a moment like that because that's what it always felt like it was leading up to, and then it never happened.
I think for me, I feel like all of that kind of changed once he had a son. I felt like it was always about him. He made it so a big deal for him to protect his son. So I think that moment you're looking for, I got that when you found out about Heimdall. When they was like, oh, the prophecy is Heimdall would kill Atreus. And Kratos like, whoa, that was it for me. It was like now there was another new mission of Kratos doing everything he can to stop this guy. So much so he had to get the ring, take the ring, turn into a weapon.
The prophecy was that Kratos was going to kill Heimdall because Heimdall wanted to kill Loki, and then that happened. So that part of the prophecy was fulfilled. But the question I have is like, what part of the prophecy was supposed to happen that didn't happen to prevent it? And it was never really clear about that. Like, was it the Ragnarok part? Because Surtur didn't fully meld with their wife, but that doesn't really make for a climactic, change or anything like that. I
think
know.
so. For me, I would just what I'm elaborating for me is a feeling. So you were saying a feeling you were looking for. So when I play these games too, I think because now they're trying to make them more realistic. They're more when I say realistic, I mean they want these characters to have emotions. They talk to each other. They have these dialogue. So what was cool was when Kratos was like, now he no longer wants to make Ragnarok. He's going to try whatever he can to not have it happen and still try to get his son. So it was like, oh, that was cool. Now you're going to say, you know what? Before it was like, I'm going to do whatever I can. I don't care. Ragnarok, no Ragnarok. I'm saving my son. Then he was like, I'm going to try to avoid it. And in the end, he wanted to avoid it and it still ended up happening.
Well, I think it was Mimir. He actually said to Kratos that there's actually instances in this Norse story where people have changed their fates, but he actually said it's because they took a rational approach and changed what they knew. So in the end, I think that's important, not to fall for a sort of prophecy like it is cemented.
Well, one thing that I thought was foreshadowing was Kratos said that the fates can be deceived. I thought there was going to be some sort of deception where they think that Kratos died, but he didn't. And, I mean, I've seen that happen before in specific shows and things where I love that moment where they go, what comes to mind is like Steins Gate. You might be aware of the show or graphic novel Hoults.
Yeah.
There's a moment where he's trying to prevent someone from dying, and the way that he kind of circumvents it is the blood isn't theirs, like because the image is of this person lying in a pool of blood. So the blood turns out, you could spoilers for like 1 minute for anyone who wants to watch the show. But basically it's his blood. He gets stabbed instead of her. And then, that's how they trick fate into thinking that at that point in time they were supposed to be lying in that pool of blood, dying, but they tricked that fate into thinking something else. And so that actually live.
What about what Harold just said? He said it was Faye who ultimately changed the prophecy at the end because no one knew the true prophecy that Faye saw and guided them.
Well, but at the same time, Groa also had a prophecy as well, and I think both could have been accurate. And it's just I never saw a moment where one changed to the other. It never felt like it felt like this was the way that it was going to happen no matter what. It didn't feel like they changed it on their own.
To me, even though they had like visions of prophecy or whatever, I thought the fates were the ones that were pulling the strings literally. I thought they were the ones that knew the full outcome. So,
well let me ask you guys this.
But they don't really.
So we went a lot on the story. I want to ask you guys just what is your feelings on the combat, right? So when I play a game, personally, these are my favorite type of games. A game where I get to like attack and I like melee more games than shooting games. So like if you let me like let's say the Division where I'm duck and cover shoot, that's cool. But I like this, right, where I could hack and slash, right? So this game catered to me as far as the combat. I loved it. So let me ask you guys, what was your feelings on the combat? Did you like it? Did you prefer? Would you just elaborate? What about you, Maker? And we'll go around.
I think it's very good combat. I don't think it's the best. If I were to compare Elden Ring's combat versus God of War, Elden Ring to me just provides a lot more replayability, a better experience, in my opinion. But I still think that it's great combat. That goes well with the story.
Cool. What about you, Lauren?
I love the combat. It was a lot of fun. I love the use of the shields, how they implemented them. The spear, being able to switch weapons on the drop of a dime with the different specials and kind of comboing off of each other. I had a lot of blast. Like I would look for just random fights just so I can just fight more. Like that's why I love doing the side quests. I love doing the berserker fights. I think they did a good job on the combat. I had a lot of fun. I would replay the game again. Like I have no problem going back and playing this game again when I get some time.
What about you, Hoults?
Yeah, I thought it was just so smooth and flew really great. It flowed really great for what I was doing. Because like I said, I was Blade of Chaos, doing chain attacks, and then if I wanted to roll out the way, I can just change to my axe or my spear, and then just do long distance attacks. That I can go back in again. I can charge me axe, throw it, then run in and do a brutal attack, and it just flowed really great. So,
what about you, Iso?
I thought combat was fine. I wasn't like blown away by any means, but I didn't really have like a lot of complaints. I thought it worked for what it was.
That's cool. Yeah. One thing I thought was cool. I like the violence in it, right? I like when you had whenever you killed the enemy, had a cutscene. Specifically, I think it's cool. Those like bird-looking creatures look like pterodactyl, and they got like a beak, and you grab them and you like crush them, and it shows the beak go out of place, and as they neck fall, and I was just like, I loved like the violence. That was part of the combat that I loved, that they took time to make a death kill for each person. I thought that, for me, I guess just me, I don't know, I like the games where it's extra violent. I thought that was kind of cool. So if you think of a game, you think about the story, the combat, what about the graphics? What do you guys think about the graphics? What about you, Maker?
It wasn't the most visually impressive game this year. To me, Horizon Forbidden West still, to me, is probably the best looking game of this year. But I don't know. I still would say art direction goes to Elden Ring just because of the varied environments. But I still think visually very impressive. Just not, I wouldn't be like 10 out of 10. Yeah.
Gotcha. What about you, Lion, as far as the graphics of the game?
They were great. They were very good graphics. I would say they were better than like Horizon. Horizon probably had the most impressive out of the Sony exclusives, but it was really, the game was beautiful, especially when you get to like Asgard and you take a look at everything. You look amazing. Vanaheim looked great.
Ragnarok, the Spark of the Earth area, that was probably one of my favorite areas, like to visually look.
That fight there with the Valkyries, that was fun.
Yeah.
Too. That was a lot of fun too. But yeah, it looked great. I think it worked for the type of game that it was. Because it's not supposed to be a super realistic game, but they look beautiful. I mean, you cannot complain about the graphics of this game.
Yeah. What about you, Hoults?
I thought looked gorgeous. It wasn't the best visual I've seen, but like I said, I did sit there and go, wow, I was impressed. But I like the idea that it's not the full PlayStation 5 graphics. I'm glad to see that there's more growth in the system.
Yeah.
And I feel like going forward, this should be the base game of what I'm actually wanting games going forward from a Sony studio.
That's cool. What about you, Iso?
I thought they did a great job. I thought the game looked awesome.
That's cool, man. I think what Holt said is kind of cool. It's like, okay, but they did say, hey, this PlayStation 5, this didn't push it. So it will be cool if this is like, again, if it's not third-party developers, right? But the first-party developers, since they should be able to know the system the best, that the games don't look any less than this, unless it's the art direction.
Has any of you seen like the art direction? Has any of you seen like behind the scenes, like when they do like the sort of CGI and all that, and they capture the footage, so you get the real life actors playing the scenes,
the motion capture and all that.
I love it. Since The Last of Us, I've been tuning in now to see like what the actor of Kratos and Atreus is actually doing, and you think, wow.
Nice.
You know what? I think a lot of the times that we want to see what these systems can really do, but by the time that we can really see that, it's time for a new generation. You're really not gonna get the full power of these things, Xbox, PlayStation, until like 2025. They're already thinking about releasing the next one. Same thing happened with the PS4. Look at a game like Last of Us 2. Look at a game like Ghost of Tsushima. The load times on Ghost of Tsushima unheard of on a PlayStation 4, on a base PlayStation 4. Like, you're not really gonna get that experience until the end of the generation. And that's the same. It's happened like that every single generation. So I don't know why people are always surprised.
Yeah, I say the same thing. Guys, if y'all guys want, y'all could ask us questions. We got 2 questions already, and we could start to wind it down. And then us for now. I mean, that's all I kind of want to ask you guys. But if you guys got questions or topics, we could bring up the flesh this out a little more before we close out. But so TK said, he said, what other game can you?
It's trolling, man. It's trolling.
Okay, can you have with demon slaves and y'all both shooting and fighting at the same time? When I hear him say that, I think a devil may cry. But another question is for the panel: did y'all want to use Thor hammer even if it wasn't permanent? Me personally, I wanted it to be him throw the hammer at Kratos, and for a moment, Kratos like at least grabs it and pulls it back like he could use it, and then maybe he couldn't. I don't know. Yeah, or show that he was strong enough. Something.
Wouldn't that be great that if he threw it back at Thor, then in the end it just stopped in front of Thor's face? He went, good try, because he's got like the magic to sort of control it.
That probably, that would have been perfect. Like go ahead, Maker.
I was gonna say, like, it would have been so cool if, like, in that Odin sequence where he kills Thor and then Thrud gets thrown back with the Mjolnir, if at one point like Mjolnir comes to like Kratos's hand, like when he's fighting Odin, and so like he's got like an axe in one hand and then like Mjolnir in the other.
Oh,
like, let's go! And it's
kind of like Captain America, right? Endgame.
Yeah.
I was suspicious of Loki, of Atreus, the whole game. Like, I thought, because he's a god of mischief, I thought he had like hypnotized Kratos, something was gonna happen. And then I was doing the side quest in Vanaheim in the crater where you're learning about that big battle that Thor had, because everybody kept describing that Thor was loving the battle. It was a big festival, everybody's drinking. I'm like, oh man, Thor's gonna end up being the real dad of Atreus, and Atreus gonna wield the hammer. That's what I thought was gonna happen when you listen to it. Because how everybody described that fight between Thor and Luffy was like, oh my god, they were having so much fun. It was amazing. I'm like, they had a big fight. They got it on. And this is Atreus.
I would have laughed if like Kratos got hold of the hammer and Thor was like, "You never touch a god's weapon," and then he just picked up the axe, the ice axe, like say, "We can both do this, Kratos." And you sort of lost the axe for a bit, and Thor had the axe, you had the hammer.
Well, what I would have loved to see is like Kratos like turns to Atreus and is like, boy, and like hands him the axe, and then he's got the hammer now in like the final fight. And so it's like the kid growing up finally into like the mother's axe, and like he's like a full adult now. That would have been kind of cool.
Well, what about you, ISO? Would you have liked to use Thor's hammer at some point?
Nah, I was cool. I didn't expect to use it at all, so it wasn't something like I was surprised with.
I think at a certain point I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to use it.
Oh yeah, I agree with ISO definitely, but I thought just the cool part, and it not even gameplay, it could have been cinematics. I think Holt said it perfectly. He throw it at him, Kratos grab it, throw it back, and then stop. But here's something I felt cheated, right? I thought when you get Ingrid, the sword, I was like, oh, when he said you on the adventure and you got Ingrid, when I pulled out my bow and start swinging, I thought I had the sword at first. I was like, I got a sword. Wait, what? Hold up, come on. I was like, oh, Loki's gonna get a new weapon, and he was still swinging the bow, and the sword was fighting on his own.
Too. Yeah.
You thought it too?
Yeah.
No, I knew he wasn't gonna be able to use it because I'm like, when did he get sword training?
I didn't look at it like that.
No, like,
I don't think he needs it. Honestly.
Yeah, because they said that they've been training for like ever. Like that's just what they
he
do.
was trained with a bow, right? So it's like, when did he use a sword?
But what I'm saying is he already uses the bow as like a melee weapon, anyways. You can swap that out for a sword.
The fact that I didn't see him use it once, I was like, nah, you're not gonna be able to use a sword. I was like, I have never seen him use anything that was melee other than hitting with the bow, but the bow is the main weapon. And
it was just there to help him talk.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Someone's close to you. You're not gonna swing your bow. Like, nah, you're gonna hit them with the bow. But if there was any hints of him sword training, I would have guessed it. But then no, they never showed it at all. So I was like, nah, you're not gonna use the sword.
Well, there's a part when Atreus says, "Dad, why didn't you actually give me Spartan training?" He's like, "Because I didn't think you needed it. Never wanted you to be a Spartan."
And he did. Yeah, he did say that. Yeah.
I mean, their training is ruthless though, so it makes sense.
Yeah. K9 said, what game has better combat than Bayonetta 3 this year? So I never played it. Did any of you guys play Bayonetta 3?
Yes, I love Bayonetta
3. But I'm probably going to be picking it up.
Hoults, what is the combat like? Is it like, because it looks, for me, when Bayonetta came out, it was like a Devil May Cry clone. So I did play and beat part 1.
Bayonetta and Devil May Cry were from the same universe originally. If you look at the comics and stuff like that, so in the end, they've got like the whole idea of demon angels and stuff like that. So you can draw a lot of influence between them. So you can always argue which one came first. You could say Devil May Cry, but maybe it was Bayonetta in a creative space, should I say? But I'm trying to say, you choose to play Devil May Cry, then you never ever play 2 and 3 because choices of console. But I think Bayonetta.
No. Devil May Cry 1 came out way before Bayonetta 1.
You're not saying this. I never said the game never came out first. I'm trying to say in a creative space, Bayonetta could have been the first concept in like the sort of Devil May Cry meets Bayonetta.
I mean, that could be anything. I wonder.
So what I'm trying to say is, you like Bayonetta, and Bayonetta is a great game, and then sort of the mechanics. Let's like God of War, the mechanics got better and better in 2 and 3. So when you actually play Bayonetta 3, it's so smooth but familiar. The gunplay chaotic, the sort of witch time dodging, the sort of counterattacks.
But it's what I'm asking you is it plays like Devil May Cry, right? Like if you wanted to say, okay, it plays like.
No, plays like Bayonetta.
No?
He's like, bro, it's just Bayonetta, dog.
Fair enough.
Because in the end, we were talking the other day about, like, I was saying, like, you said Devil May Cry is a melee game. I was like, no, you can use guns, and you're like, no one uses the guns. And I was like, I named loads of mechanics when you use the guns in Devil May Cry, and you still said, no, it's still a melee. And I'm like, okay, so we're forgetting the Ifrit claws, we're forgetting everything else apart from the bloody sword that you played with. And I was like, in Devil May Cry 3, there was different mechanics like Trickster, Gunslinger, and I was like, so to me,
Yeah, but what I would say is, from playing Devil May Cry, right? Is there somebody who walks around and never swings in Devil May Cry? They make Devil May Cry. So Devil May Cry is a good blend of a gun game and a melee game, but your melee attacks are more powerful. You're meant to use your melee attacks, right?
Yeah, guns are a lot more kind of like interrupt or like or like continue a combo.
No, because like I said, in Devil May Cry, you couldn't kill one of them witch blades, and you couldn't kill a black cat without actually, because if you tried to use melee, it would bounce back at you. So in the end, there was loads of magical elements and weapons and that you could use as alternative play styles. It's just that
they make you utilize all the different abilities.
Right. It's like me saying in God of War I played Chains of Chaos, and you're like, Hoults, there's over 2 more weapons to play. And I was like, nah, it's all right. I'm just ignoring them. It's always got to be the case.
But that's not the same thing. So melee and projectiles, right? Melees and projectiles are 2 different things. So what I'm saying is, if you look at the basis, I mean, I played all the Devil May Cry. So playing the Devil May Cry, like even from part 1 to the very last one, the basis of that game feels like it's a melee hack and slash game with guns. It doesn't feel like it's a gun shooting perfect example. What's the game that ended up coming to Stadia and it took 28 days for their first update? Maker's about to say all of them. The Outriders. So Outriders is a gun game with melee mechanics, right? The melee isn't that prominent in that game.
The clone
You're
of Gears of
mainly
War.
yeah, it's that same thing, right? Gears of War is more now. Yes, you use your guns more in Devil May Cry, but Devil May Cry is primarily attacks is like is meant to be the melees, right? You do more damage with the melees. I didn't make the game.
I think that's the case for Bayonetta as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think the kicks and stuff are a lot more powerful than using the guns. The guns take a little while, but are good with like meshing with combos.
Like combos,
yeah.
It depends, because like I said, rather than a gunslinger, it depends how. Say a lot of enemies were surrounding you, you could actually do like just shoot loads of bullets everywhere, and it's sort of like it's sort of like cloud.
It has its uses for sure.
AOTs.
It's kind of like with
it's like a Bayonetta type of game.
But see, I would definitely say if you could play two games, Bayonetta and God of War, I would definitely recommend both of them.
I think it's different combat styles, so it's hard to really compare like which one's better, because I think different ones are going for different styles. Right. I still say, like, in terms of like replayability and just like enjoyment, Elden Ring to me is still up there for one of the best games this year.
Yeah, I would say Elden Ring, because I've played Bayonetta and I've played God of War. They're one and done for me. I wouldn't go back and play them.
Whereas like Elden Ring, like by the time you get to the end, you feel kind of super powerful. There's different builds there's different stats you want to go into. You can they added a new ability. This is one of my favorite things that they did with this new game, is you can now swap out abilities for your weapons. So like you can go to like a blacksmith and change like the ability to something different. Like, I want to use this whirlwind ability on my sword or my axe, and it changes up that kind of gameplay style.
Well, in Bayonetta, there's not just Bayonetta. There's a sort of a side character as well. That's sort of like Kratos to Atreus. There's another character you play with different mechanics.
I'll be right back, guys.
And I feel that's where they're sort of bringing side characters in just for like other people that like to play them. Me personally, I don't like Atreus, and I don't like the side character in Bayonetta. It's all for the main hero for me, the way they play.
Okay. I think the cool thing with something like a Elden Ring is, for the replayability, is because you can make different characters, right? So you can say, hey, different builds. I want to make, a different build, right? Whereas these games are linear. Like, you have a beginning, an ending, you level up to 85 or whatever level, and you can't do anything else, right? You can mix stuff up in God of War. You got 3 different weapons, you got a shield, but long story short, that's what you get. Elden Ring is more, you have a flat slate and you could just build however you want and back and forth, right? But my issue with Elden Ring is it's a rogue, or am I getting it wrong? It's a Souls game, sorry. So it's a Souls game. So then I'm like, darn it. But when I played it, I will say I enjoyed it so much. And I was this close to buying it. I even said on screen, on camera, I was like, dude, I'm buying this. I think I'm buying this. But at the end all be all, I'm like,
see, if it's not your style of game, then I don't recommend you really buying it.
I'm going to buy it. I'm buying it when it's heavily discounted, because I know it's going to be a very challenging game, not just in difficulty, in like, I could play the game if I sort of grinded, and that's the problem. I would have to put hours and hours, and like, I put 200 hours in The Witcher to finish that on like the hardest. So in the end, I feel like if I'm going to invest, I have to invest. And like I said, make it probably can laugh and go, I've got more than 200 hours in Elden Ring, and I'm like, that's what I don't want. There's more games.
I eclipsed 200, but yeah, I think the great thing about Elden Ring compared to the other Souls games is it allows you to explore, go somewhere else if you're stuck at a particular boss. So you're not just constantly fighting that one boss over and over, trying to progress. This one allows you to just, I'm having trouble with this guy. Let me go find another dungeon to get some souls and maybe level up. And it feels less grindy than just constantly going back and forth at a specific boss.
Yeah, ISO, did you play Elden Ring?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. What's your thoughts on Elden Ring?
It's cool. It was fun. I have like 30 hours into it. It's just a lot.
It is a lot.
So here's a good question. Harold said, "Did y'all run into any bugs in God of War Ragnarok? Because he ran into a couple, and the more he plays, the more bugs." 2022 gaming. Me personally, I think the game was probably about 20. I think the game legit is like 20. Took me 25 hours, but I played it longer than that because I on stream I was talking and stuff like that. I don't. I think maybe once I seen like real quick Kratos was somewhere and then the camera turned real quick and it came back. But I honestly I think that's the only bug I've seen in the whole game.
Yeah,
I remember having one that it wouldn't let me progress. Like there was a door that was supposed to open at one point, and I had to just kind of reload my save, and then like the door opened when I reloaded, and then it worked.
All the game of the years, I've not had any bugs. I mean, I've not played Elden Ring yet, but I've not had no bugs in the games that I've played in, like Horizon, Stray, God of War, stuff like that. The only game I've actually this year is, like I said, we mentioned the other day. I mean, I saw Pokemon. That's the only game at the moment that I've got. I can see bugs, not game breaking bugs, but bugs. So 2022, I know a lot of people have. It's user specific, I guess, but in my gaming in 2022, it's not been full of bugs.
What about you, ISO? Did you run into any bugs? God of War?
The biggest one that I ran into was I was doing a side quest, and I was trying to find the armor for one of the blacksmith, the new chick with Freyr's camp.
So starts with an L, right?
Yeah, Linda or something. Yeah. So when you go through everything, you can find like the chest armor, the wrists, the waist, and then so I found everything but the chest armor. And I'm like, yo, where the hell is this armor? Like I went everywhere, and whenever I saw a chest, like I was pretty thorough about looking through everything. And then I was asking someone else, like, yo, did you find the chest? Because I couldn't find it. And he sent me the video of where it was, and I already opened the chest, but I didn't get the armor. So I was like, fuck it, I'm out. I don't even, it's not that big of a deal, but it kind of annoyed me.
I got one last question for you guys because there's one thing I specifically want to do, and I was asking Maker to help me, and he couldn't, so I had to look up the video. So I'm still mad at you, Maker. But did you guys? Oh wait! Before we move on, let me ask Lion. Lion, did you have any bugs? Encounter any bugs?
I didn't. I was surprised. I didn't really run into any bugs, and I did a whole lot of stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure there are some, but I didn't run into any that I can't think of any that I can. Oh my god, that's a bug right there now.
Okay, cool. Same thing with me. So last thing I want to ask you guys, did you guys unlock the I know Maker did, and he could mention. Did you unlock the Crucible? So one thing I was like, I hope this game has some type of mode where I could just fight. And then I got to that earlier one where it was like you could just fight, and it was like little lower level enemies. You're just beating them up forever. It's no counter, no nothing. They just keep coming. I'm like, all right, it got boring. But then at the end of the game, I see they have it says Crucible in that one area with the fire lava area. I was like, oh, so then I go there, and Maker was watching, and I'm like, dude, where is it? Maker's like, no, you need these two things to unlock it. And I was like, oh. So I ended up looking up the video. I didn't do it yet, but I will do it. Probably do it tonight. Did you guys make it there? I know you did, Maker. Did you play any more of it, or explain it for us?
I just kind of unlocked it, and that was okay. I didn't actually go do the trials.
Okay, got you. So it's kind of like last game where they had like the trials, like you gotta like beat an enemy with, I don't know, not that much health, or like they throw all this crazy stuff at you. Is that what it's like?
No.
Okay.
I'm assuming I haven't done it yet, though.
Okay, you did you get it, Lion? You unlocked it or no?
No, I think I have whatever is needed to unlock it, but I like that kind of stuff in the game.
Okay. And what about you, ISO?
No, I didn't do it. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm gonna continue playing at this point since I beat it.
Okay.
We'll see. I mean, the content is there. It's just I beat the game. And it's kind of like, I think I'm cool. I already put like 27 hours into it. I feel like I put enough, and I kind of want to move on to the next game I want to play.
Yeah, you flew through it.
I just worry that the side content isn't super enticing. I do want to do the Vanaheim stuff that you mentioned, Lion, because that actually sounds interesting.
Yeah.
But a lot of the side quests that I did in like Alfheim and in Svartalfheim, it just super didn't like interest me. It felt like basic side quest type stuff,
right.
And I didn't really see any like side quests that were because I had seen Twitter posts of people being like, "Bro, some of these side quests is like a main story mission in other games," and I'm like, "Where are they at?"
You're like, which ones? Because I ain't see it.
All the ones that I did not feel like a main story quest, aside from maybe the funeral one at the
This is a
end.
pretty cool one in Vanaheim too. I don't know. Do you unlock the dam? Fill up the place with water.
The which place with water?
In
I
Vanaheim.
explored a little bit, and I was getting some of the equipment from for the blacksmith, but I don't know if I unlocked.
There is like this thing when you get to Vanaheim in the near the crater. There's like this big gigantic step, like this animal step. Like, oh, some kind of gigantic creature ran through here, and there's like this big ridge in the middle of the land that you have to like go all around it to get across. There is a dam that you have to unlock, and the way you unlock it is by beating. You unlock it, and then you find out what the animal is, and then to bait the animal in, you have to bring these two other creatures into a cage that is like you have kind of like a little mini game that you have to throw the axe while you fight these things, and then trap them in the cage to raise the cage up so the thing can be enticed to come to your area. You can fight. It's this gigantic thing. That's
Yo, Lion sound like he playing a whole different game. I'm like,
there's a lot of stuff. I play like all the main cycles. I play all of them. I love the game.
I just wish some of that stuff was like more, because like I did the jellyfish side quest in Alfheim, which I was like, that was pretty kind of
some of the desert. Yeah.
Oh, I did that one too.
Yeah. So it was pretty basic. You know, it was just like kind of like going through the cave and freeing the creature, and it to me it held no like emotional weight. It was just like, oh, nice, yeah. Now it's not no more big desert or no more desert storm anymore.
But that quest is to tell a story about Atreus, because Atreus and like, why you want to do this quest with me? Why you want to do this with me? Why?
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I did like that.
You do it, and at the end, like I think Mimir tells him, "Don't you realize that?" This is how he spends time with you. His time is almost gone. So that was a cool thing.
Sounds kind of cool.
I did like that moment, but like all throughout, like me doing it, I was like, "This is just tedium."
It was a puzzle. It was like a story puzzle.
It feels like I'm doing a normal side quest. It doesn't feel anything special.
I'm kind of like ISO. So when I beat God of War 2018. I was done. I didn't care to go back and do all the Valkyries, anything. But this game, I specifically said I'm not going to do side quests, so it would make me want to play it more. And I actually would have gameflied this game because I'm used to just playing a one and done game and I'm done. So this was cool. I enjoyed it. I loved it, and because I like the combat so much and how I feel like his character and combat in this game caters to me as a gamer. I love the fighting and the killing and stuff, so I want more of it. But I think eventually I'll be like, okay, that's it, right? Plus, I'd rather play a multiplayer game. So I think it's cool that I left. So now hearing you guys talk, it make me say, oh, I want to do that, I want to do that. But let's not drag this on. I will say this, because TK asked about Gungrave for ISO. ISO said he will play it. I did play it yesterday, and I did not like it. But he said, dude, play it longer. There's more characters you could use. So I will play it longer. But where I left off yesterday, I gave it a 4 out of 10. And I even canceled my Game Pass because I was like, I guess this is the last game that I wanted to play. And I was like, well, that's it. But I got it.
I just don't think they have a lot of games for you right now. And I think that's fair for you to just hold off until they start getting games for you.
Buy the discounted membership right now, because you do it in the Black Friday. It's like $30 for 3 months of Ultimate. That's what I buy. I buy like 2 or 3 of those cards, and that's my whole year.
No, I'm gonna be mad because I was gonna cancel last month, and K9 was like, "No, it's a game called Gungrave. You should hang on to it." 2020, in November. So I wait just for that game. I waited, and who would have known if I would have liked it or not? But I didn't like it at all. So, but I will, like he said, play it a little longer. They got another character. I played like 5 stages, and I'm like, no, this game is no. But yeah, I'll play a little bit longer. But anyway, I just brought that up because he brought it up. But last thing, guys, let me ask you this last thing then, and we could go our separate ways. So can you give me a rating, right? Can you rate this game when you think of God of War as a franchise, right? So for instance, I would have to give, for me personally, right? Don't kill me, but this is me and my feelings. God of War, as all the games, I gotta give this. I give this a 9 out of 10. For me, God of War 3 is my 10 out of 10 out of God of Wars. Now, as far as game of the year, like somebody said to me the other day, well, if this isn't your 10 out of 10 for God of Wars, how could it be 10 out of 10 for game of the year for 2022? Well, that's totally different, right? Because number one, God of War 3 came out, I don't know how many years ago, right? So for me, I give this 9 out of 10 as far as God of War games. This is my second favorite God of War now. I like it a lot, but Part 3 just gets that ultimate spot. But as a 2022, I'm not saying, but 2022, this game for me got a 10 out of 10. This game was probably the best game I played in 2022. So if you guys could give me, and a game that came out in 2022. So can you give me 2 scores at a God of War, 10 out of 10? What is it on the as a God of War game, and what is it as a 2022 game? Maker.
I feel like it's because I haven't played a lot. I think it's kind of the same, a 9 out of 10 and a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
For me, particularly.
Cool. What about you, Lion?
For me, for between all the God of Wars, I'll say God of War 2018 is a 10 out of 10 for me. It's just an emotional thing. That scene with the picking up the blades of chaos, that did the whole game for me. That was it. But this one, I was like a 9, let's say 9.5. It was really close. I had a lot of fun. Like playing this game, like I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I did. Because I'm coming from playing all these open world games, and like I said, like it was a nice change of pace. I enjoy the cycles. I enjoy all the content. Yeah, it was a great game. But the God of War, this is my second favorite one behind 2018.
Nice. Okay, and so you like 2018 more than you like Part 3?
Yeah. Part 3, I enjoyed it back then. But those games, I was never like. Once I was done with those games, I wasn't like. I wonder what would have happened. Like it never gave me that feeling. 2018 and this game, I'm like, there's so many possibilities. It left more of a bigger impact for me.
It's like seeing a movie, and when you leave the movie, you still talking to your friends about the movie. You're like, dude, I wonder, right? It's like it give you that.
Right, at least you wanted more, and that's always a good sign of any good product. Yeah. You play a game like Elden Ring, like I can't wait to play a DLC of it. Like I bought Dark Souls 3 because I wanted more Elden Ring. that's how much you let me want it to.
That's cool. Yeah. ISO?
I give it a 8.5 for both.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Both. Yeah. What I will say this is in games there are graphics, there's gameplay, and there is the story, right? And for me, gameplay is always number one. So it's a great story. So when I think of God of War 2018, those 2 moments, the Loki at the end and the Blades of Chaos, this game couldn't compare to it. But those moments was great. But then what do I have left? I could keep always telling people, and I always get giddy, and I feel those moments. But gameplay, so gameplay on the last one was good, but this one was better because I do like the spear. So I like that he had 3 weapons. I like the shield, right? So for me, gameplay always trumps everything because gameplay lives on. The chances of me playing this game more is only because of gameplay. I don't care, like the cool scene you told me sounds cool. I just want to do it because I'm going to be fighting using the gameplay, right? And then graphics, graphics is cool, but I don't need graphics to be stellar. So for me, gameplay is the thing, and I think that's why this game resonated with me. I just love the gameplay and the violence of him. Like, just like I remember in Part 3, when you get to just all the God of War, you ripping creatures open. And I feel like they added that little extra layer in this one as much as they could that they didn't do in 2018, if that makes sense. But man, this was good. Thank you guys all for being a part of this. It's so cool that ISO got to jump in. ISO was like, yo, I just beat it. I was like, oh, and that was really cool. Lion was able to make it. You told me you had stuff to do. Thank you so much for actually making the time. Maker, from day one, you was like, I'm down. From day one, Holt said he was down. And it was cool just to talk about this game that I thought I really liked. And I love that you guys liked it too. And man, it's good stuff. I can't wait to see the next game we all like. And maybe we all could do one of these on one of your other channels as well. ISO, I love if you have, if you want to one day have a panel, please, I'll jump on it. It'd be cool. We could talk about whatever. Same thing for you, Lion and Maker. I know you or you're the content guy that is for hire. So it is what it is. But let me see. I think K9 says sounds like Red Dead Redemption 2 got robbed in 2018.
It's like it's fighting against the God of War.
I know. He's like, nah, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But that's fine. But yeah, man, I mean, that's it for me. Is there any last thing you guys want to throw in that we didn't touch about the game that we didn't get a chance to bring up and you wanted to bring up?
Oh my God, it was $70. I'm kidding.
Oh my God, it's $70. Right.
I'll complain about one thing. I hated that I got the Jotnar edition collector's edition, and it doesn't come with the disc. It comes with a steelbook case, but it doesn't come with the disc.
Oh,
it's just a digital code.
That's
But you knew that ahead of time. They was talking about that.
I knew it ahead of time.
7-8 months ago.
But it's still kind of frustrating because it's like now I've got this steelbook case with nothing in it.
Now, did you guys buy the DLC? Because I didn't. The DLC in-game DLC was like armor, right?
It came with mine, I believe.
Oh, okay. I got it with the pre-order.
Okay, yeah. And what was it just like? It just looked
it's just
cool.
armor. Like you end up switching it out fairly quick anyway. It was nothing crazy.
Well, I think you're talking about like the Snow White armor.
Was there more?
Yeah, there's. I wound up using the armor that they gave me all the way to the end.
Oh wow!
I crafted mine. I got.
It increases your rage, like the like you get faster kind of rage build with it. So
I was watching some videos on builds. So that is, I will say that is cool. I haven't been a build guy since Anthem and Destiny. So I was watching this. I was like, oh, because I ended up at the end. I used whatever armor and stuff that gave me a lot of health. I was like, damn, my health bar was so big, and I was like, it was hard for me to die. And then I watched this ultimate you can't die build. I was like, oh wow, this game got like builds. That was kind of cool because I'm not really into build, or I got out of builds, but it was cool to think you could mix and match with certain stuff. That was cool.
I crafted the dragon armor. You have to kill like a bunch of drekkies, and you craft like the red and silver armor. It gives you like I think more rage. I think it is. With that armor, I one complaint that I do have is that the story of Ragnarok, the monster itself, felt incomplete because they threw some seeds there about his other half. He tells Craig, hey, don't tell her anything about it. Oh, so something's gonna happen here. They're gonna get into it. They're gonna have to go get this lady to calm this dude down. No.
Well, I was okay with that because they said her heart was in his chest. They shared heart. He had her heart. She had his. So I felt like she was, because I thought, I was like, he said if her and them fuse together, they're going to die. He was like, I'm not going to risk losing my loved one, right? So he was like, just put the sword in there, which I thought was weird. Like, wait, you're going to stab him with the sword? Because isn't that her heart? Are you going to kill her? So he kind of explained that she was part of him. Yep.
Why say it then? It felt like it was like a hint that something else is gonna. Maybe it was cut content. They were gonna do something.
Oh, maybe.
Cut it. I don't know.
If you go to Niflheim after you beat the game, you can faintly hear her wailing in the background. So that's about it. They didn't really. There's no side quest or anything, unfortunately, about it.
It's cool, man. It's cool that we got a bunch of stuff we talked about. You guys, especially you, Lion, inspired me to actually play some more because now I want to do some more of the stuff. And like I said, I personally left out side quests so I could do more. Let me ask you guys one last thing. So ISO kind of said it. So ISO, as far as you know, you're not playing this again, right?
I don't think I'm gonna go back unless I'm bored. I don't feel the need to, and plus it's kind of
Oh wait. Would you at least do the funeral?
Yes, I didn't know about that, so I would do that because Brock was my dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You gotta send them off, then, bro. You gotta send them off.
The music that's played and it's really good.
What do I gotta do? Is it easy to find or what?
Just go
to Svartalheim where the dwarves are, and then go to the bar, and that'll start the quest.
Okay,
yep, that's it. Yeah. Are you playing it again, Maker?
I will do the side content just to see. To cover all bases and see what it offers. Just right now, I'm not super impressed with the side content.
And you now, Lion, you did a lot of side content. Is there side content you didn't do yet, and are you still going to play it to do it, or what?
I have like 2 cycles that I haven't done. Well, I'm halfway there. There's one that you have to collect the 4 stacks of the seasons. I collected 2 of them. I don't know if I don't feel the need to complete that one because it feels like very lame. The I'm also halfway done or more than halfway done with the crows, the audience eyes. Those green crows that you shoot. I don't have the stamina to go find them or wherever they are. Like it's just that's kind of
I,
annoying.
I I don't think I'll ever do those kind of like really meticulous
Right.
ones where it's like kill all the crows. I just feel like that takes too much time and effort looking for them.
I
Well, the
might
weird thing
fight
was,
the Berserkers and the Valkyrie, the new Valkyrie Queen. I might do that. I'm gonna
okay.
take my time with that.
I know they referenced like the new Valkyrie Queen, but I didn't know that you actually fought her. I knew
Yeah,
the Berserkers. You fight the king at the end though.
Oh, that's
yeah.
cool.
You fight him. You fight her for sure. There's some bunch
Yeah.
of videos on that how to fight her.
So there was some of the birds I seen that I couldn't hit earlier in the game, but I guess that's because I didn't have the spear, right?
Yep.
So I'm assuming the spear got the your distance. Okay. So that's gonna help me hit some of them, I guess. Man, every time we keep going on, we got something else coming up. So I'm gonna shut up because I got nothing else to say. I get you guys also said you was all done. Again, thank you, ISO. Thank you, Maker. Thank you, Lion. Thank you to Hoults. What I would like to do though is pull up you guys' channel, and I'm just gonna throw the channel up in there, and anybody could click on the channel as well. And but that's it. I don't know what else to say. So want to thank you again, ISO. Let me throw in your channel.
I appreciate you. No, the
Definitely,
game was
man.
good.
And,
The game was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It definitely picked up pace. I felt like the beginning ish was a little slow in my opinion, but it definitely picked up in the middle. So I was glad it did.
I felt the opposite. I thought it the pace was faster right at the beginning, and then it slowed down
Oh,
like
really?
through the middle. Yeah, because like to me, like that whole like the bear scene with and then Thor right after all that was kind of like it really hooked you in. But
Right.
after that, it slowed down really drastically, and I don't think it really picked up until maybe like Nidhogg in like Vanaheim, where you're helping Freya, because like then you're like fighting like Nidhogg, that like big thing.
Yeah.
Lion, your channel. I'm always trying to find your channel.
You can do like in structure if you want. This is my main channel. But
Okay, what is that? The one you want me to do?
yeah, you're doing structure. Yeah, because we have something coming up on Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we're doing a more controversial, somewhat live stream. We're talking about diversity in casting. The people having conflicts with characters being different colors. We're
Oh,
gonna talk
yeah, that's
about if T'Challa should have been recasted. Now that the movie's out, what people think and stuff. Because there's been some
okay.
conversations on both sides and what it means for black masculinity and stuff like that. So we're gonna talk about that on the
Oh, that's gonna be really
next
good, man.
Tuesday.
Is it possible? I'm trying to pull it up that you can put the link inside of here so I can add it. And there's ISO's channel right there. ISO he's pulling it up. You want to tell him a little bit about your channel?
Yeah, I just do pretty much anything related to gaming. Just whatever I feel like talking about, uploading, whatever topics, stuff like that. So it's kind of all over the place, but yeah, it's all gaming related at the very least.
Okay, dope stuff. I think you have to put it in the private because it won't let you share it if you try to put it on there.
Yeah,
And Maker. Maker, do you want to give a shout out to Cloud Gaming Extreme?
Yeah, definitely check out Cloud Game Extreme at youtube.com/cgx, I believe. But I didn't really want to end on a negative, but I do have one last complaint. I totally forgot to mention.
Still here.
Svartalfheim, like with the Dwarven City, a big complaint that I had was like the only real building you get to go in is the bar. Like it didn't feel like a city to me.
It's empty.
Yeah, I hated that.
It is.
But overall, like still great game. Enjoyed it a lot. But check me out. Twitter, Maker of Chaos 12. Twitch. If you find me on Twitter, you'll find all my other stuff. So
So what is your channel again, Maker? Because I sometimes I see your channel, sometimes I don't.
Well, my Twitter is Maker of Chaos 12, but my Twitch account is Maker of Chaos 12, but Chaos is a K in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, I'm gonna put this in here also because you do content on Cloud Gaming Extreme, and I would love for them to get some love as well. So I'm gonna say check out Maker.
I do do some videos from time to time. I did one of the best PlayStation Plus games in the cloud, and
did you?
God of War 2018 was one of them. So
I gotta check that out. Well, here is also
That was a while
Maker.
back.
So all of these guys are on here. Maker, ISO, and Lion. Who's ever watching this after the fact, they're all the links for all their channels are right here. So definitely check them out and subscribe to their channel. And with that said, I'm gonna take us out of here, man. So
all right, appreciate you,
man.
Cowboy.
Oh man, thank you. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for blessing me with the presence, because you guys all are adding extra value to my content, so I appreciate it.
Yep, you need all help you can get, man. That's
I know. I got people like K9 and Doc trying to tear me down, Nah. All right, guys, and now your mama knows.
And now your mama knows.
Bruce, unleash the baby god dragon!